Welcome to the Pro-Black Perspective, where black problems are addressed with black solutions. Your host tonight is the author of the Pro-Black Compendium and Zuberi and the Maroons of Ma'at, the Pan-African Nationalist, Oni. Oni, what are we discussing tonight?
Peace, family. All right, you're tuning into the Pro-Black Perspective. Hopefully, you guys are all seated. Pan-African Multi-Nationalist Warship begins. I'm thinking I'm going to addend this name, Pan-African Multi-Nationalist Realism. You know, I realize that, we should have an ideological framework. And a part of that ideological framework is just reality and realism. So we're going to dive into this article. I was going to give you guys some other articles or this particular Unzitama. I can't really say his name well, but, neither could like half the globe. So it's all good. But Unzitama had a presentation on the inherent racism of the South African Constitution. But I was told I keep going over elite theory. And the thing is this, the reason why I keep going over elite theory is because it's universally applicable. We're talking about nations. We're talking about nation building. That's really the focus here. And because that's the focus here, you have to understand that the solution for African people, and we're probably going to stress it really heavily throughout this reading, even though I didn't read this article yet, right? We're going to give a naked reading, if you will. I didn't read it yet, but I want you to get that nation build. If we're talking about nationalism, we have to understand this concept that I outlined in the Book of Power, Boko Waset Nakeru. When you understand Boko Waset Nakeru, you're going to realize that then you're going to understand a lot of things. I'll tell you it this way, in fact. Nearly Fuller Jr. says, if you don't understand racism and white supremacy, you don't understand anything, right? Most everything's going to confuse you, or something like that, right? The way you understand racism, white supremacy, if you will, is by understanding Boko Waset Nakeru. Okay? And then you're not going to be confused about anything. Now you might say, Oni, what are those words you just said? Right? One of them was Congolese, and then some of them was Kemet, some of it is freaking Swahili. What did you just say? Well, if you're asking me that question, you don't know about the Book of Power. Now, this might be the time for me to give you the ad for the Book of Power. But really, I got to start off with the fact that I'm on the KWAZ radio network. So check out this.
This is D Webb with the Harsh Reality Podcast, asking you to tune in where we tackle the news of the day that affects our community, only on KWAZ radio.
Greetings, everyone. This is Koku from the Bitter Medicine Podcast, inviting you to tune in to the Bitter Medicine Podcast on KWAZ Radio.
Greetings, fam. Tune in to The Learning Curve with me, the Revolutionary Matron on KWAZ Radio.
You are listening to the Pro-Black Perspective on KWAZ Radio.
All right, so we're gonna jump into this. Although I do want to tell you guys, if you didn't know, right, I'm working on a book. It was not approved. Not for whatever you might think. It looks like it just needs a little bit more reformatting, but it was not approved. That said, it's not for sale right now. But I do want you all to check it out. I'm gonna give you guys maybe the first 4 thing. Now, some of you are gonna disagree with, I don't know. You know how y'all are. Some of y'all are gonna disagree with something. But this is one of the things that we want to do for our future generations, right? I didn't record the rhetoric. I'm probably gonna make this into an ad too, but it's like I'm gonna be on the nose with it. And this is what I want you to. This is a good example of commerce. That I want you to understand that some people are going to recoil at this because of where we are economically, because we're talking about economics today. So it's really important. Some people are going to look at this and be like, hey, that's too black. That's too damn black. I could be a nation builder, But I need to say, what? That's too damn black. That's because we are inside of somebody else's economy. And that's something that you really are going to, I think I'm going to be able to drill that home while we're going over this article, right? And the article's in the link in the description. But I think we're going to drill this home while we're going over this article, because I realize too that I sometimes hold back on my blackness to be a little bit more marketable. You know, like here's the thing you probably gonna pick up on. This podcast is called The Pro-Black Perspective. The first book or the second book was called A Pro-Black Compendium, right? And you say to yourself, why is it pro-black instead of Pan-African? Why is it pro-black instead of Africa, right? And it's like because the thing that I learned even before ADOS and all that stuff, because you check the timeline, right? The thing I learned, the thing that everybody knew in America, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, right? Black Americans don't like being called African. You understand? It's not like you only selling to Black Americans, but Black Americans don't like being called African. You understand? So this book was going to be, I can be anything. Because that's more, and then it would have had a black kid, but it would have been a coincidentally black kid. I want you to pick up on this too. There's a YouTube video that I saw that was like, hey, you can create a children's book easily using hold on a second, let me just make sure I'm not being recorded. Anyway, he said it's a children's book that you using Mid-Journey or whatever, right? Using AI, you could use a children's book. And the white boy, when he was trying to make this children's book, he said, make a biracial child for me. It's a white boy. He's like, make a biracial girl in a pink dress. Because he understood the market. Because he understands he's a part of an international market. And the most marketable child is not the black kid with locks. Not the black kid with waves. Not the black kid with a flat top. It's the mulatto girl. You understand? And see, even this white boy is not. Oh, it's not the bleach blonde. The bleach blonde white child, the bleach blonde white boy with blue eyes. He's like, no, make it a biracial kid. So I want you to understand that you're a part of an international market, and see, I'm actually bucking the market. And some of you are going to say that's stupid. Why are you bucking the market if you're a part of this international market? Because I'm not trying to be a part of no fucking international market. You understand? When you understand Boko Waset Nakeru, you're going to understand. And here's the thing. You understand how to be in the market, and you understand how to be out of the market. You understand? Right now, you're supposed to be in the market. Right? Or you're supposed to be out. And I say that to say, when I say supposed to be, I'm saying that they have two different meanings. Like if you're trying to make money, obviously, whatever. But I'm going to show you guys what it looks like a little bit, especially while people are coming through. Let me see the comments. There's nobody here, so I guess I'm just showing it to myself. I'm just showing it to the playback. But anyway, look, see, I can be an astronomer. I can study the cosmos by observing the stars or every moon and planet, whether Jupiter or Mars. And throughout my studies, I'll learn about the Earth by studying its neighbors, its twins, and its birth. And then, I could be an author. And you're going to notice that, these are like the earlier ones, and so on and so forth. Now, the reason why I show you, because look, this is black. This is blackity black, right? And I'm going to make this an app, and I'm going to probably just give out the app. I'm going to try to integrate, what's it called? Ads into it, so that, nobody has to pay anything, and all that crap. Just because it's like, again, like there's a market, and then there's the other, there's multiple markets on the planet. And one of the markets is untapped because there's not too much money circulating in it. You understand? Like there's a market for, like actually there's this one image. I wish I could find it easily. But there's this one image that really highlights, like really stresses economics. And actually I think I'm going to look it up for you guys. But it's like probably the most fundamental image if you want to understand, if you want a good grasp of economics. And that said, like Kofi's here. So you already know you can now start when Kofi comes. It's probably the most fundamental image though for understanding economics, right? Understanding markets, right? It's like the whole idea of beauty's in the eye of the beholder. It's like, no, beauty is in the eye of the market. Beauty's in the eye of the market. But we're gonna go into, and that's not how I usually would say it, but If you can't tell, I'm a little bit whatever. So all right, editor's note. This was January 26th. This is the Brookings Institute. Investment in science and technology is key to an African economic boom, right? And this was on Wednesday, 2022, right? So below is a viewpoint from the Foresight Africa 2022 report, which explores top priorities for the regions in the coming year. Read the full chapter on Africa's economic recovery. So that actually might, I wonder if that's even, I wonder how long this is. Because I felt like this article was kind of short, but I think this probably would be like a big ass article. No, this one looks like it's short too. So this is something else. So I think maybe we could even just do both. But it might be a part of a bigger. So yeah, okay, there's like a just chapter 1 of. Okay, yeah, see, there's multiple chapters. So yeah, okay, I see. All right, so it's probably not something we could actually manage. Well, we could probably do this alone. African women and girls leading a continent. And you know, this is like I said, when I was in Africa, yeah, like Wazungu does this. It's not bad, but I mean, it's not that it's not good. It's not that it's not bad, but I'm just saying Wazungu does this where he's like, I don't care what's going on over there. I'm gonna do whatever I want. And actually, that's something I really wanted to point out too. This is pretty interesting. Can I just blindly click on things? No. What I can, yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can. I probably have to do it off screen, but somebody wrote in my comments. They wrote in my comments something along the lines of. Let me just double check that everything is going good. Something along the lines of. Let's see. I wanna show you guys. Yeah, okay, it's good. I want to show you guys something before we even proceed. So you see, we got all these notifications right here. This is a comment for one of the deep reading of Wretched of the Earth, right? So I read the first 12 pages because I realized it was 240 pages, so I had to read so many pages at a time. So this individual, Momomex, right, wrote down, you said in this video you wish that you knew what he meant by Manichaeism. Did you ever look into it? If not, here's another chance. Thank you for all you do. Right? Nice. Appreciate it. I appreciate comments. You know, comments help with the algorithm, by the way. So make sure you guys, after this video, or like just on the several other videos, just leave some comments. You know, just leave some comments. Maybe put in some keywords in the comments, you know? Because you never know. I don't even know. Like, you could be like, I think the other day I was, no matter of fact, I was on Google Maps and I was looking up black owned. And Google Maps was showing me different locations that had comments that said black owned. You know what I mean? So like sometimes you just for the algorithm, just in case somebody's like searching Wretched of the Earth, you just put in the comments, hey, I like this reading of Wretched of the Earth, you know, or something like that. But anyway, he said, I appreciate the reminder in the comment. That's what I said. I said, unfortunately, I hadn't looked into it again. I just tried and it's pretty eye-opening and even confusing. I learned it was one of the largest religions in the world, yet it vanished. Y'all hear that? Manichaeism was one of the largest religions in the world, and it's gone. Like, it's just completely gone. More, it seems to focus on the dualism of good and evil and the manifestation within us. I can't say much, but I'd appreciate if you could elaborate on it. It's remarkable because the fact that it's one of the world's largest religions can be lost is a reminder that nothing is permanent and all is changeable. That's really amazing to me. You know? That's really amazing to me. Now, some people will point out, hey, you know, this is a 3rd century religion. Right, it's like more like a precursor to Islam, kind of, but it's a third. It's like another Christianity division, a derivative. You know, apparently Augustine, right? You know the one that y'all call Saint Augustine. Apparently he was originally a Manichaeist until he went back into Christianity. But it's just kind of wild because we never hear about it, or I never heard of it. Right? Now, maybe if you're a biblical scholar or a Christian scholar or a religious scholar, you probably heard of it. Or Islamic scholar, you probably heard of it. I've never heard of it. And the fact that it used to be one of the biggest religions on the planet, right? And I mean, yeah, it was squashed out by Christianity, allegedly. But still, squashed out like intentionally, like Christians were like persecuting it. But notwithstanding, it's still like fascinating because that what it tells you is this, and the source that they say that crushed it was what's you call it was the Roman establishment, right? The Roman Empire. So as to say that, the power behind the state and what the state can do is really something that we have to understand when we talk about, nationalism, when we talk about nation building, when we encourage our children to take up nation building, we have to understand what the state can do and through what devices. Because one thing I can tell you, in fact, was that when I was in Tanzania, if you were even checking into a hotel, right, they would ask you what tribe are you. You understand? Like they wouldn't ask you that only, but they would say, hey, specify. I think sometimes even specify your religion and specify your hotel. I mean your ethnicity. And when I was on the police, they were like, "What religion are you? Are you Christian or Muslim?" You know what I'm saying? And of course, I'm like, I ain't either. But anyway, all that to say, oh yeah, there's one thing I wanted to look up before we even jumped into the nitty gritty, and that is this particular image. And this is going to be one of those important images. When you think about economics, I want you to think about this image, right? So we're gonna try to find it really quickly. I just got to remember where I put it. But we're gonna have to try to find it really quickly, just so that you get because this is probably the most fundamental image for you when it comes to the subject of economics. And I mean, I know I keep saying hyperbole statements, and I mean obviously that's not excusing this either, but it's a really good one. But in the meantime, while this thing is loading, because it's taking forever, let me just say greetings to the chat. Let me just say greetings to the chat, and then we can proceed from there. Okay, there's nobody in the chat except for Kofi. Yeah, it looks like I can't even find this stupid. Oh, yeah. But all right, so what is this article? Let's read this article. Article says the African continent represents 20% of the Earth's surface and is home to 1.3 billion people, likely reaching 2.53 billion people by 2050, right? It boasts 60% of the world's arable lands. Can you imagine that? 60% of the world's arable land. You just saying that. It's like 60%, 20% of the population of the planet, right? No, sorry. 20% of the Earth's surface. I don't know how much the world's population is. I mean, it's 7 billion. So yeah, about 20% of the world's population, right? It is home to 60% of the arable land. How they say we're the breadbasket of the world. 60% of the world's land, right? A large swath of forest, 30% of the world's reserve of minerals, and the youngest population of any continent. Yet despite these riches, it produces only 3% of global GDP, accounts for less than 3% of international trade, mainly primary commodities and natural resources, and shoulders 25% of the global disease burden. Now, I don't know why they threw that one in, right? they were talking about economics and they're like, yo, these motherfuckers diseased too. But all right, the picture is particularly bleak when it comes to research and innovation. Africa contributes just 2% of world research output, accounts for only 1.3% of research spending, and produces 0.1% of all patents. Now, the trouble is this. This is not even unbelievable. This is not even unbelievable. Low-key, I'm scrolling through to find that picture. Oh, yeah, I got it. Low-key, I'm scrolling through to find that picture. But this is not even unbelievable, right? Nobody's sitting here thinking, bullshit, Like, nobody's sitting here thinking bullshit. We're all like, yeah, okay. It makes, we're not really producing a bunch of research papers, especially okay. So anyway, here's the image that I want you guys, when you're thinking of economics, I want you guys to use this one, right? is this lady. Her name, for some reason, is Baba. Baba means father in Swahili, but that's her name for some reason, right? She's not that good looking, right? And on top of that, her art is even worse looking, right? Her art looks like a bunch of fat bodies, right? I can't even tell if they're naked. It looks like they're naked. A bunch of fat bodies, yeah, like without even faces, you know? So like, even if you were into fat women, you know, in their chubby face or something, I don't know. She didn't even paint those faces. Now, the art is bad. There's a very limited market for that. And so what she does is not say, you know what, let me just do something marketable, right? Because I'm not saying she has talent, because I don't think this is talented. This looks like a crayon drawing of fat people, right? I mean, it's good shading if I'm going to be critical. It's not, you know, like, I mean, shading is pretty hard. Like, it's not that it's hard. It's like a first step or like a second step in drawing. So it's not the worst. It's not like, yeah, this is actually bad art. But anyway, so you think, okay, it's bad art, but only you're just saying that, you know, like, it's probably not really bad art. But then look at the caption. Baba is a full-time, not even like part-time, not even like volunteer, full-time content creator in need of daily community support. You understand? During the COVID-19 pandemic for survival. So this lady didn't even say, let me draw these homely bodies. You know, let me test the market. Let me test the waters. No, she went full ass deep dive into this terrible market or into this terrible plan. And because of it, she now needs daily support. Okay? So support can be made through buying products in Etsy. Nobody wants to do that. Or direct donations, right? This is what you need when I'm talking about economics. Because the thing is, you might look at this and say, damn, this is terrible. But it's like, it's not too different from my super black literature, my super black children's book. Because one thing you got to know is that a lot of black folk ain't with the super black. A lot of black folk ain't with the super black. White folk, the biggest market, are not in the super black. They're not even in the barely black. I mean, the way how they barely in the barely black is if they going for mulatto, for mixed. But other than that, they're not into black, period. But that, I was saying that I'm scoffing the market, but the difference between me and her is that I'm not begging for daily support. Now, I did say go out and buy my book, but I'm just saying because it's a good book. It's a super black book, and I want to have super black next generation. And that's the difference. There's an objective here. I don't know what this lady's objective is. You look at fat bodies as art. Okay, why? Like, what's that even gonna do for us? You know what I mean? like what's that even gonna do for us? That's my big question. Like, okay, the fat woman is a work. Ugh. Your crayon art is art. Okay, what is that gonna do? You know, that's the big question. But anyway, I want you guys, because this is actually really important in the question of this. It doesn't matter what you create. It matters what you sell. What you can sell. It doesn't matter what you can create. It matters what you can sell. And so when we're talking about investment in science and technology, we're talking about what can African people sell and to whom. And what you're going to find out is that the global economy, because we're talking about global economies versus local economies, the global economy wants shit for white folk. So if you're trying to make bank off the global economy, you got to make shit for white folk. This woman, if she's selling, you know, white slim bodies, right? She would probably sell more than if she's selling fat. I don't even know what complexion that is, but fat bodies, right? I don't know if she's probably just put it herself, which is weird. It's like a weird OnlyFans, but you get what I'm saying, right? If you want to, and again, like, see me, I'm like, hey, but we also need to build up our super black economy. We also have to build up our super black economy. So that's something that you could do on the side when you feel like you don't need this white boy. But if you feel like you don't even want this white boy. But if you want OPM, other people's money, right? Then you have to go by the interests of other people. You know? And I mean, like I said, you could do your own interest on the side. Like this woman could easily sell skinny white chicks and then, you know, big black amorphous bodies, right? She could easily do that, right? But she's just going full time into big black amorphous bodies when there's no market for it. And then now she's begging for food. And instead of changing, instead of shifting and saying, you know what, that's dumb, she's like, well, guys, support me because I'm doing the right thing. And it's like, realistically, when you going against the market, it might not necessarily be the right thing. You know what I mean? I mean, again, me doing the super black, because you could say there's an irony there. You might be like, hey, but bro, you're doing the super black. If that's not a part of the market neither. Very true. Right? I said it multiple times. So it's not like it's nothing new. But yeah, very true. Very true. But there's, like I said, you have to have a. So the one thing about economics is that politics connects to it. So you have to have a political motive. And when you have a political motive, you can supersede economics. And this is what I'm not telling you what I think. I'm telling you what I know. Right? In the sense that even when you read Adam Smith, he says, look, it might be more economical. Even if a country, he says, if a nation finds it more economical to buy something that its people can produce, right? It's politically better for the people to produce it. Even if it's more expensive. Because one, the price will be lowered when you foster the people. And two, because you could do it your fucking self. Independence is more important. This is a white boy talking about England and France, and he's saying independence is more important. And they're two white groups. And I'm not even capping. I'm not making this up. And I know some of you are like, well, did the white man say it? And that's why you want to hear that. Some of you are like, well, if the white man said it, why is it? Well, look, it's not just him. I'm telling you, this is just common sense. Some politics is more important than economics. Economics is the most important thing. Now you might be like, that sounds like a contradiction. It's not a contradiction. What I'm saying is this: your political objectives are incredibly important. Economics is everything. But your political objectives are also very important, and you have to make those political choices. And this is why not only should we be forming political parties, but this is why we are really, when we're talking about the subject of power, we're really talking about capturing the political apparatus and then calculating when to be political and when to be apolitical. When to be hands off and when to be hands off. I don't know if I said the same thing twice. Hands on and hands off. Right? If you do not process that, what you're going to end up is with this description you see in front of you. Right? This description you see in front of you where black folk are taking a big L. You understand? And I'm not talking about the rapper. All right, look, Brother Bakari is in the house. Forecast is in the house. Shout out to these two brothers. Peace and Black Power. The Brother Bakari, and of course, Forecast is coming through. So what's up to everybody? I'm not talking about things. I do like low key. Sometimes I wish I had more preparation, but like this is kind of a free. This is like, you know, the Warship. You know how it is. So I don't have the book on the ready. But I do feel like I should pull out that book, because right now what happened is that people are talking about socialism and shit on the TL. I don't know how I got into that, but you know, it is what it is. It's better than celebrity gossip. And what I'm saying is that, let me see. What I'm saying is that. Wait a second. Still produce the taxes. Producing the subject, boasting ability. All right. Anyway, I want to. If only I knew how to find out this thing inside the Wealth of Nations. But I do think that it's a decent book for black folk to get. And I might do like a a separate book to help read through it. But if you do not focus on your political apparatus, like if you just go by free market, which is again something that Adam Smith himself said do not do because that's fucking stupid, right? That's why I wanted to pull up his book. If you do that, you're gonna end up like Africa, pretty much. You know, where you have 60% of the world's arable land, okay? 30% of the world's reserve of minerals. The youngest population, right? Not to say that's good or bad, but only 3% of GDP and like 0.1% of patents. You know, all the time, like that's a thing. But anyway, so how can a continent that has fueled the world's industrial evolution, that helped drive the dominance of the mobile phone industry, and whose large store of rare earth minerals are integral to the global green energy transition, tolerate such dismal statistics? A lack of, and so now they're going to go into this. A lack of investment in science and technology has undermined Africa's economic transformation at both the structural level, the shift of workers and resources from low to high productivity sectors, and the sectoral level, the growth of productivity within sectors. This lack of investment has had far-reaching consequences. Without the economic and scientific infrastructure necessary for innovation, the continent has continued to rely on the colonial development model of resource extraction, which is both unsustainable and largely responsible for its debilitating poverty and aid dependency. These challenges have been compounded by economic fragmentation. Smaller markets constrain the long-term investments and patient capital that would foster innovation and drive technology transfer in the context of globalization. Okay, so this is one of the things about, you know, what we call educated Negroes. See, because you gotta. That's the thing I love. That's the thing I love about people from Africa. Well, actually, no, never mind. Actually, I was gonna say you could tell by their name whether they're African or not, but I don't even know now. This person sound like they Muslim, Amina. Although I knew a couple of Aminas in Tanzania, but Gurib Fakim, that's an Arab name, and then Landry Signe sounds like Indian. But I was just about to say the thing I like about Africa was that you could tell whether they they have the, you know, like Oyonko or something, you know. But now I can't even tell. So yeah, I don't even know if this person is I don't even know who this person is. Amina, at least I don't know. And they seem to write a lot about, yep, I knew it. The former president of Mauritania. I don't know what Mauritius is. I was about to say Mauritania. Suriname. Oh shit. Yeah. Okay. So wait, actually, I have no idea where this place is. Oh no, that's sorry. She was born in Suriname. Damn, she the whole former president. Like I was about to say, I was like, you know, you could tell from an African person whether they name, and then I'm like, wait, this name does not look, and of course it's some old bullshit. Let's see what Larry Signe is. Because I was gonna say with the educated Negroes that they like obfuscating, but like these white folk do, and yeah. Okay, so Landry Signe, but you know, okay, you know what I mean? Like if you corresponding with this lady, you whatever. So he's black, but you know she wasn't. Shit, you know. Anyway, so with that, this paragraph right here does not add up much. So I think I probably should just reread it just for the sake of it, but it really doesn't add up to much. They're not saying anything, and that's the thing about a lot of academics is that they will use a lot of words to say nothing, and that's the thing that when somebody's doing that to you, kind of just tell them, hey, you know what, you used a lot of words and you didn't say anything. You know, I actually had that on Twitter. This guy, but yeah, it's just whatever. So a lack of investment in science and technology has undermined Africa's economic transformation at both the structural level and the sectoral level. Now, this is something really interesting, right? Look at this use of language. A lack of investment in science and technology. Like these people were not colonized. It's like y'all didn't invest in science and technology. And, while we were robbing you. All right, but anyway. This lack of investment has had far-reaching consequences. Without the economic and scientific infrastructure necessary for innovation, the continent has continued to rely on the And the thing is this. That's what I'm trying to say, man. This is why you can't trust white folk. This is why, I usually do not read white folks' opinions on African economics. I don't. Because I know they're pulling the okie doke. They're pulling they're pulling some bullshit. Right? Look at this. Without the economic and scientific infrastructure necessary for innovation, the continent has continued to rely on the colonial development model of resource extraction. Okay. Tell me this. You think that it's because, like again, you know, the thing about Africa is that, look, it does not need to rely on the colonial development model of resource extraction. What's happening in Africa right now is not to do with, oh, well, you didn't have the necessary structure, and that's why you got to go with this. No, you don't have to go with those people. The reason why Africa's going with those people is because nobody motherfucking took those people out. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, it's like how you do it. How you do it. In fact, I can tell y'all this. I'll tell y'all this, in fact. So, at my house, I'm in New York City. New York City, if y'all don't know, New York City has rodent. Like, not rodent like roaches. Not rodent like rat, but like rodent like roach, right? Like, it has roaches, right? Occasionally. Rarely, right? Not too rarely, but like, it got to a point where I did see quite a few roach, like maybe like one roach a night, right? Maybe the same roach sometimes. And I did like poison. I did like some insecticide, and I got rid of, like, I would say it became like one roach a week or something. Okay? This infestation, right? Then when I came back from Africa, right? I ain't seen no damn roaches at all. Like, I haven't seen them since. Okay? What that tells you, though, is this, right? And I know this is kind of weird, kind of gross, but what this tells you is this, right? There was something about my living pattern. And obviously, I have a messy boy. And I also had, like, other people in my house, too. So, but anyway, I have a messy son and, you know, other people and all that shit, right? But there was something about my living, like my standard of living, that sustained these motherfucking roaches. But when I just said, fuck you guys, I'm not giving you anything, they were gone. And that's the thing that Africa has not done yet. That's the thing that, and not that it hasn't done successfully. You understand? It hasn't done successfully, in the sense that white folk do not want you doing that. You know, one of the major success stories, like if you could have had the same article talking about China. You could have had the same article without the economic and scientific infrastructure necessary for innovation. The Chinese nation has continued to rely on the colonial development model of cheap labor. Okay, you could have. But you see, this is why I I don't like the Marxists. I don't like the socialists per se, but I do like Mao, and I do like Stalin. I do. And partly because these motherfuckers understood how to do the purge. You know what I'm saying? And this is something that, matter of fact, make sure you guys check out the Forecast Radio. Me and Forecast had a conversation on benevolent dictatorship, right? And the one thing I pointed out to Forecast was that a lot of times when these political leaders, these political dictators are killing people, they're not killing people indiscriminately. They're not silencing and quelling debate. Who they're killing is their political opposition. They debate internally within the political party to the people who are loyal to the political objectives. You understand? Black self-determination for us. For the Russians, it was, hey, we're going to advance the Russia. We're going to advance the Russian Empire. For China, we're going to advance the Chinese Empire. For African people, we're going to advance the African Empire. We're going to advance the Black Empire. If you are about that on a political level, you're in the political party. And you come to the debate and you discuss what your strategies are for us to advance as an African people. But if you come in there and you talking about, well, I think these white boys, yeah, your fucking heads up. Yeah. Yeah, my dogs are going to eat your body. What the fuck you think? They ain't going to eat me? You know what I'm saying? They ain't gonna meet me. Not while I'm alive, at least. You know what I'm saying? Well, I hope, I know somebody taking notes like, shit, what about we making motherfucking dogs eat you while you're alive? But anyway, it is what it is. You know what I mean? Either way, what I'm saying is that, they have political debate with it. Because the thing is that if you guys, like, I don't really know the USSR deep like that. But what I could tell you is that they did have internal papers that demonstrated a level of debate internally. Now, they're not trying to debate Eisenhower. You know what I'm saying? They're not trying to debate Franklin Delano Roosevelt. But yeah, they're going to have some internal debate. Why do I say this? I say this to say, you never got rid of the external enemy or the internal enemy. You never got rid of the other political party being financed by the enemy. Because, see, you can't have colonial extraction. You cannot have colonial resource extraction unless you have somebody connected to the outside world selling resources. You can't. And see, when I say I like Mao and Stalin, what they did is that, we could talk about Mao. Mao closed the fucking borders. See, this white boy, if you close the borders on the white boy says, okay, I'm going to fight you and I'm going to try to open it back. And the thing about the white man you got to understand is that the white man does not necessarily win 100% of the time. In fact, Malcolm X said that the white boy hasn't won a war since the Vietnam War. Or since his loss in the Vietnam War. I think he's like, since the Korean War or some shit. Right? He said the white man can't win a war, he said. Right? The white man's too scared. He just whatever. Now, I'm not going to say he can't beat some folk. I'm not going to say he can't beat, some folk. But what I'm going to tell you is this, that when the Chinese originally closed their borders, they had the Opium War, and these white boys opened them back up. Gotcha. The white man said, look, I'm going to sell your people opium whether you like it or not. I'm going to drug your damn people whether you like it or not. I'm going to put weed. Stay off the weed. I'm going to put weed in your neighborhood whether you like it or not. I'm going to put crack cocaine in your neighborhood whether you like it or not. Difference is the Chinese tried to fight, they lost, and they still had to take the L. But then Chinese fought another war. Mao and them fought another war. And when they fought this war, what they said was, look, we're going to get rid of every motherfucker who's about capitalism. Every motherfucker who's about the Western world. Every motherfucker that wants the luxuries of the internet and all that shit. Every motherfucker. And obviously the internet wasn't around then, but I'm just telling you, because I got to relate history to today. Right? Every motherfucker who feels like they can't sacrifice for the good of their own people, for their own political objectives, and would rather have this white boy in their house. Every one of those motherfuckers. And I mean, obviously not literally every one of them, but just enough for the message to be clear. We go in Team China. All right? That's what Mao was saying. Right? Shout out to Brother Bakari and Forecast. They Team Black. So, I'm Team Black too, right? But they literally Team Black. But what I'm saying is this: you want to, and that's why. But see, when it comes to Africa, that did not happen. For the most part, that did not happen, and because that did not happen, then you have people doing this international resource extraction. Because see, you couldn't get cheap labor out of China before Nixon. Like between Mao and Nixon, you couldn't get cheap labor out of China. You couldn't, because there was no international connection. What you see in Africa today is that there are plenty of international connections. See, I'm all for Africa shutting its borders. Only thing I want when Africa shuts its borders is for me to be in Africa. If they close the door on everybody else who's like, oh, I'm about to go to Africa when I want to retire, that's fine. My whole thing about being in Africa is that they close the border and I'm like, well, whoops, I'm on this side. They shut off the internet. I'm like, whoops, I'm on this side. And then we get to work as an African people. That's what I want. That's what China did. That's what Russia did. They said, oh, we're going to work now. If we have international people, if we have international correspondences, we're just sending out students. We're just sending out students. You understand? We're just sending out young people to come right back. Yo-yos, that's it. We're just sending out spies. You know? But none of this, you know, oh yeah, well, I mean, we're going to be sending out coltan. And I mean, I get it. Look, America's not trying to hear, oh, you ain't getting no more coltan. They're not trying to hear that. But see, don't blame it on Africa's lack of scientific and inner economic whatever. Don't try to blame that. Brother Bakari wrote, only as African people, we are concerned with building European and Asian powers. We are afraid of power. Shit. I don't even want to say we. Oh, nobody recorded that. But yeah, I mean, look, that's the like, because the thing is, it's not, and that's the thing too. I'm going to say is this: black folk do not know about power. You know, like I said, I write about power, so that's one thing, right? Most black folk do not know about power because most black folk don't know about power. They don't, because this white boy is not teaching you about power. This white boy is not teaching you about, like he's not teaching you anything. I go back to, you know, some of y'all people, Elijah Muhammad, he said something a little profound. He said, the white man's not going to teach you about three things. He said, the science of mating, the science of procreation, and the science, no, sorry, that's the science of mating, the science of business, and the military sciences, right? I kind of sum that all up as the science of relationships, right? But ultimately, he's like, yeah, but ultimately that's true. They're not going to teach you. You're going to notice that you don't really learn business. You know, the reason why a lot of people like Amos Wilson is because one thing I could say about his Blueprint for Black Power is that it does go a little bit rudimentary, but still more deeply than most everything else you got. It does go deeply into economics. You know, a couple of people I know started businesses following that book, and I don't blame him. He does read these white boys, and he does recite some like rude, like some level of business savviness, and I could appreciate that from a position of if from a scholarly position, I could appreciate that. You know, now one thing people don't pick up on is that, you know, like I said, Adam Smith, well, it's not as big a book. I don't know which one's bigger, actually. They're both pretty big books, right? Adam Smith does the same business thing, but of course it's a little bit older, and it doesn't have, you know, African American examples. And then Nyerere, I don't know if you guys peeped that from the last time I read him. Nyerere, that brother really went over the same kind of economic knowledge as well. And I think I was starting off one of those books. I can't remember if it was Thomas Sankara or whatever. That also had a lot of economic knowledge. And I'm going to point out this too. I'm not going to hold you. One of the things people like about socialists, Marxists, and all that kind of stuff is that they also focus on economics and class. Now, they kind of confuse it a lot, but there is this reality that the quote unquote capitalist, quote unquote bourgeoisie, quote unquote, you know, white boy is not going to teach you what could benefit you. You know, and that's just a fundamental fact of life. You know, what benefits your enemy harms you, and what harms you benefits your enemy. Right? Or what benefits you, or what harms your enemy benefits you. You know, so you not knowing how to reproduce, you not reproduce, but you know, not how to form relationships, all that kind of stuff. You know, that's good for him. You know, and that's what he's supposed to be doing. You know, the thing is that, you know, as Brother Bakari pointed out, right? The thing is that a lot of us think this white boy is supposed to be our friend. You know, a lot of us believe this white boy is supposed to be our friend. You know, I have trouble being in America. Because a long time ago, when I was first getting into the black nationalist thought, I was like, you know, every time I cross the street, I'm putting my trust in this white boy. Like, if there's a white boy on the other side of the street driving, right? He don't gotta stop. But I put some trust in this motherfucker to stop. Now, this white girl told me one time that she had some drugs and some motherfucker stopping and he fucking ran her over. But you know, they run over white women, you know what I'm saying? But what I want you to understand is that, you know, you should not be in a predicament where you have to trust another people because shit's gonna hit the fan at some point. And it might not be your lifetime, okay, fine. It might not be your location, okay, fine. But shit's gonna hit the shit always hits the fan for somebody. Look at what's happening in Tunisia. Shit always hits the fan for somebody. And I mean, if you didn't draw the lottery today, that's fine. But I'm telling you, it's just better for you. It's just better for you and your future generations that shit don't hit the fan. Cause look, somebody could have lived their full life in Tunisia saying ain't nothing wrong, ain't no thing but a chicken wing, right? And now their son getting stabbed in the streets. You understand? Like, just think about where you leaving your kid. And what's more, and I'm not saying that you could always hold on to your property for every generation when you're in Africa, because everybody knows it's not true. Because if you could have held on to your property from jump, or we would have had property in Africa, right? But what I'm saying is that it's probably for the best if you got your shit together on the continent. But anyway, I'm gonna keep looking. I'm gonna keep reading. So yeah, the resource extraction thing, like you don't have to depend on. I think you don't have to depend on no colonial. You don't have to. The thing is that some people in Africa want to, and we don't want to enough. You know what I'm saying? We don't want to enough. To the point where we knocking some heads in. But as they're saying, it's those people, those elites, those Ascati elites in Africa who are of the continent, who are the cause behind the unsustainable and largely responsible for debilitating poverty and aid dependency in Africa. See, because you don't go from this 60% of the world's arable land to this debilitating poverty and aid dependency. I'm telling you, like mathematically, you don't. It's one thing to want resources from another land, like they just said. Iran discovered a new deposit of lithium, the second largest in the world, right? Second largest deposit of lithium in the world, right? Let's say if you are an African nation and you want some of that lithium, sure, you can hand over some shit for that. You'd be like, oh yeah, I want some lithium, But see, that's the thing about this. Look at this. Most African, especially the Ascati elite, most African businesses or what have you, don't want lithium. You realize that? Most black folk, So do you see what this person says? He says large store of rare earth minerals are integral to the global green energy transition. Most black folk don't want lithium. So my thing is this: if you don't even want lithium for some reason, you don't even want lithium, and you got lithium in abundance. Now there's two things you could do. One, you could just give away the lithium like we already doing, right? Like motherfucking idiots, no disrespect. Or two, if you don't even want the fucking lithium, then why the fuck you can't feed yourself? Like where that even makes sense? You like, oh well, shit, now I gotta give away this lithium. Now I gotta form the whole economic structure around giving away lithium. No, fool! Focus on feeding yourself. Primary. Cause like I tell you, I mean, I'm telling you, that's why I say, look, I'm telling you guys, like, I don't want to be like, oh man, go read this white boy. But like, legit, that's exactly what this fucking white boy said. He said agriculture is fundamental. Not just him, every motherfucking scholar you know, right, tells you that agriculture is fundamental. Every motherfucker who's talking about like real nation building, is telling you straight up, agriculture is the most fundamental, right? We're going to just look through the stupid book. This is the Wealth of Nations. Look for agriculture. See where this person says that, right? Discouragement of agriculture. But like every person is going to tell you, nature of agriculture is decent. Blah, blah, blah. Everybody's going to tell you agriculture is the most important. Like right here. Matter of fact, look at this. Look at this right here. So I just looked around agriculture so much. Since the occasions for these different sorts of labor returning to the different seasons of the year is possible, blah, blah. The possibility of making so complete and entire a separation of all different branches of labor employed in agriculture is perhaps the reason why the improvements of the productive power is so on and so forth. The most opulent nations indeed generally excel all their neighbors in agriculture as well as in manufactures, but they are commonly more distinguished by their superiority in the latter than in the former. Their lands are in general better cultivated, having more labor and expense. Basically, in agriculture, the labor of the rich country is not always much more productive than that of a poor. Basically, if nothing else, agriculture should be a thing. He says, of all the countries in the coast of the Middle Sea, Egypt seems to have been the first in which either agriculture or manufacture were cultivated and improved to any considerable degree. Oh, no, he's just hating on a thing. Okay, something. Basically, like, you can kind of see he keeps talking about agriculture himself. This is, again, the quote-unquote father of capitalism. He's just like, yeah, agriculture. And never in a bad way. More like, hey, agriculture is pretty much what you need to do. Let me see if I can find something. 'Cause I remember him talking about just generally how agriculture is just the most important thing. And I mean, again, like I said, it is a white boy. But what I want you to get is that even this white boy, even this quote unquote father of economics, is telling his descendants, his children, his nation, of all things, first focus on feeding yourself. Of all things, first focused on feeding yourself. Anyway, it looks like I can't find it, and I don't want to. But it's whenever somebody is telling you not to feed yourself first, right? That's somebody who you should not be listening to. Okay? That's somebody who you should not be listening to. Just generally. Like if somebody says, hey man, don't feed yourself. Like that's setting you up for failure. And that's something that these Westerners are always doing. They're always doing this. Like somehow they want you to be convinced to not feed yourself. But anyway, let's keep going. Silver lining is that there is a potential here with. Oh, sorry. Did I switch pages? I don't think I switched pages. Hold on a second. Yeah, I did switch pages. I think Oni he said, "Where's the link?" Oh, let me see. Maybe I could do Google. I don't know if it's gonna work, but let me try to see if I could do Google Hangouts. That might Google Chat. I don't know if you're gonna be picked up on the not chat. Maybe Meet. Let me do Meet. I don't know if you're gonna be picked up on the device. It's probably just gonna be voice too. Yeah, I'll probably just do voice. But let me see if I could do that. Hold on a second. Let me do start an instant meeting. I'm gonna try this new technology. Remember this decision. Okay, allow. Can you hear me? Wait, can you guys hear me? Okay. Let's see if this works. Let me just turn this on. All right, let me send a link because Brother Bakari likes to ask me for a link and then not show up. Let me see if I could. I hope there's no echo though. All right, try that and see if it works. And you guys let me know if you guys can hear it, because I'm not 100% sure you're gonna go to hear it. But all right. No, I mean like hear it after he connects. But all right, let me read this. Let me continue reading this article. Let me actually. Can I share it on the other thing? So you guys, let me know if you guys join, as well as. Hold Let me see if you guys can see everything. Share a window. I'm just gonna share. Select a window. All right, let's see. Okay. All right. So he says, I don't know what's happening. I think something. Let me see if somebody. Okay, Brother Bakari came through. All right, can you guys hear Brother Bakari? I don't know if there's an echo.
Can y'all hear me?
Can you guys hear him?
Can y'all hear me?
All right. Well, I'll wait for them.
Can you hear me, homie?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Look, I want to tell you, I ain't gonna be on here long about messing up your stream, man. Cause I know you don't even like people. Cause I know you don't like people to be on the panel with you, man. Anyway.
I'm on y'all panel.
But anyway, when we was talking about power, right? When I put in the chat, and I stepped away, I don't even know, like, we work in the best interest of other people's power all the time. Mm-hmm. That's what we're focused on, right? Even when you talk about socialism, right? When you look at socialism, people in this country that believe in socialism, the people at the bottom of the barrel, economically, politically, and socially, feel it's their responsibility to lift up everybody else when those people are not even thinking about.
I mean, yeah, I mean, look, anybody, that's what I'm saying. Anybody with any sense could tell you if 60% of the world's arable land is in Africa and 30% of the reserve, this and that, and so on and so forth, right? That if you had a global economy, right, where all the manufacturing is done in Europe, like, what's going to be the difference? What's going to be the difference for you in Africa? Like, you still going to be giving all your shit. The only difference is that you're going to be voluntarily giving all your shit to white boys. Like these white boys are just trying to pull, like they're trying to, because you already got everything. Like, if you already have everything, why you need to go in alliance with other people? You know, why do you, if you want to get rid of your enemies, right? Like, because they trying to get your resources. Why would you then share your resources with these other motherfuckers? Like it's clear and evident that like you said, they working together, or they have the same objective. It's just the fox and the wolf again. It's just the Democrats and the Republicans again. It's just the same thing, but on an international scale. You got the socialists who are like, hey, we gonna help you out. And then you got the capitalists who are like, nah, we gonna take from you. It's the same Democrats and Republicans. Just they both want the same thing. It's the same thing.
And what I always ask the socialists in America, name something that the socialists in America, the people that they follow, and I don't even like to talk bad about them, I try not to, because I know they're following the Black Panthers, right? Name something that they built on their own for black people.
Sure. Look, if you're talking about the socialists in America, please. Look, the thing the socialists in America did.
And they never.
Mm-hmm. No. Here's the thing. Here's where it's worse. Because you're going to say, oh, they never did. They can't name nothing. You know what the socialists in America did? Heard the Garvey movement. The socialists in America attacked the Garvey movement in order to try to get some of his membership, because they were like, why he got so many working class folk working with him? The socialists in America, I can't tell you, I like Russia, right? But I like Stalin and them. But the Communist Party in America really did get instructions from Moscow. Oh, try to infiltrate that movement over there so that you could get some of them workers. Literally. This is why I say there's internal debate in Moscow, because you could see those papers. You know, everybody who reads Race First could see those papers where he points out, yeah, they purposely sabotaged and tried to infiltrate the Garvey movement. So it's not even that much that they didn't do anything positive. They did negative and destructive, and yet you want black folk to turn around and be like, oh, that's my party.
Yeah, and you know, the reason I mention that, right? That's why I say, what did they build here on their own for black people? The only thing they can always say, yeah, but look how we was feeding our people with the Black Panthers. I'm like, Garvey, the UNIA was doing that before they were even born. Show me something they did for black people, what they were creating so black people could have power. And they never can, because it was not a black movement. It was a we gonna do this for everybody movement when everybody ain't thinking about you. And the biggest problem I have with that is anything that black people do, black people get away from it after a while. White people have told black people that, you know, y'all movements can't last that long, so y'all need to become a socialist now. That's how y'all gonna fight against us. And we were clearly, whatever they do, whatever they say, we throw away our own to benefit them. They don't say it just like that. They just know how to put it out there. None of these people, and none of them. And so then you have the, and that's not creating power for us, in my opinion. That's creating power for people. That's creating more power for people that's already in power.
Exactly. That's what it is. Because again, even in the socialist world, you're gonna have the political party on top. You know, you're gonna have the political party on top. And the thing is this: you're not a part of the political party. If the political party is situated in Moscow, right? And let's say you were an African American, or you an African in America, are you in Moscow? You know what I'm saying? Are you in Moscow? If you like, it's just simple. And the thing is this: that what they were trying to do is they were trying to fight for global domination. Blah 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 blah. We get it. White boys do that, right? I mean, everybody should do it. Everybody should fight for global domination. But what I'm saying is this: these white boys want the resources out of Africa, right? And so, if you were just minding your business with the resources in Africa, were you going to suddenly be head of the the Commission on Resources in Moscow? Because who's going to be head of the Commission on Resources in Moscow? Or particularly, it's going to be somebody Stalin picked, right? At least, and then they're probably going to speak Russian. They're not going to be speaking, Yoruba, right? So all that to say that it was setting you up for a white domination situation. And black folks still were all hands on deck. Meanwhile, like I said, like you all say all the time, Garvey had something, and instead of black folk getting behind Garvey, what happens is that they got behind a movement that was attacking Garvey. Where that makes sense.
Yeah.
Where that makes sense.
And they are still doing it today.
Still doing it today.
I'm gonna tell you something. It bothers people sometimes when I tell them I'm not a follower of the Black Panthers from Oakland. I'm not.
Sure, I don't know who. Nobody should be.
I don't disrespect what people, but I try not to disrespect what people believe. Black people have the right to follow who they want. But once I studied that group, right, that's just not what I follow. That's just not what I believe. Not saying they didn't do anything good. I won't deny and say they did some things that was good for the community. But the organization as a whole, I would not have been a part of the organization as a whole. Like, they prop up, because I'm going to show you something, right?
Edgy Cleaver.
We do know the Black Panthers had shootouts with the police, right?
Yeah.
And black people was getting killed. But I'm going to show you something. Did you know they also had white Panthers and Asian Panthers and Scottish Panthers and
of course
Jewish Panthers? Guess who was telling them? Guess who was giving the rules?
Probably Huey.
Go look up a Japanese guy called Tony Aoki, who was a known CIA agent. That's who was in charge. That's why Kwame Ture left and went to Alabama, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's why Kwame Ture left, because he said other people was telling them what to do. They didn't control the movement anymore, and that's what happened when you let everybody else join. He went back home to the original home of the Black Panthers did not start in Oakland. It started in Lowndes County, Alabama, and it was an all-black movement. It was not a socialist movement. It was a Black Panther party. Political party is what it was. In Lowndes County, Alabama is where it started. And that's why Kwame Ture went to Alabama when he left them. Because once you link up with other people in the black mind, with everything we have been through in this country, it's almost natural for black people to bow down and say, these other people are in charge. But like I said, I would never say they didn't do anything positive. They did some positive things.
But doing positive is like, you know, like look at your boy Tukey. You know, he did positive. You know what I'm saying? You know, but like, you know what I mean? I'm not gonna follow Tukey. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll do what I can not to follow Tukey. But yeah, I mean that's what it is. It's like everybody. That's what I'm saying. Like the whole positive versus negative. You know, I think it was actually Carlos Cook says, you know, you got to weigh a person's positives versus their negatives, you know? And the thing is that you having white people control you having white people's movement, you being heavily infiltrated, you having, like, just sloppy. You know, somebody after the Black Panther Party was saying, you know, we should have had the underground movement separate from the overground movement. Because, like, if you have an underground movement with secret soldiers, right, you know, and they all happen to be on the overground meeting place, you know what I mean? Like sloppy. You know what I'm saying? It was just sloppy. Yeah. And it's like, you know, there was so much wrong, but like mostly it was bad. Like even like when I think about this Edges Cleaver guy, everybody knows about him, but I'll just, you know, for the handful of people who don't, right? This man is talking about, he was like, he's like, oh, I would practice raping black women in order that I could go and rape white women. Now, what the fuck? And then he becomes one of the biggest speakers there, biggest intellectuals there. If that's the man who becomes one of the biggest intellectuals, biggest speakers in your movement, is saying that he was practicing, like he was raping black women in order that he can now rape white women. The fuck? Like the fuck? You know, like there's nothing. Because one thing is like this. You raping white women is already a bad, like it's not even like something that, like, it's not something that any of us want to do, you know? But then, the fact that you're going to be raping black women in order to, like, you got, and then, if that man comes around you, and he's sitting there and he's like, hey, this is my place, this is what I did, and all that shit, you're supposed to be like, get the fuck out of here, if not, you know, force the motherfucker out of there, you know? But that's what I'm saying, like I say about the Cultural Revolution. If you were to go up in you know, Mao Zedong's face and say, look, man, I was raping Chinese women in order that I could go rape some English women, he'd chop your damn neck off. You go to Stalin and you say, look, I was raping Russian women in order that I could rape some German women, right? He'd chop your damn head off. But for black folk, and not just all black folk, but for the Black Panther Party in particular, right? This man said this, wrote it in a book, and he was a bestseller. He was a bestseller. And he was like near the national spokesman. I think his wife became one of the presidents, right? Kathleen Cleaver, I'm not sure, but I think so, right?
And that woman was white. I don't care what nobody says.
Exactly, white with a fro. Yvette Carnell.
He's also
Yvette Carnell looked dark skinned.
Compared to her, yes.
Compared to her, it looked like she's dark skinned.
He's also the same man that said hugging a black woman, you feel like you're hugging a slave. But when you hug a white woman, you're hugging power. He can't wait till the day where he can wake up in the bed with a white woman.
Oh, jeez. Well, I mean, he did wake up in the bed with a white woman, so it is what it is. But, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, it was so bad. Like, it was so bad. Because this is not like some old schmuck. This ain't some old boy off the street. This is the leading intellectual of the Oakland chapter. You know what I mean? Like, I think there was a Harlem chapter that was different, but, you know, the more, well, you know, there was the East Coast, West Coast beef, you know how we do. And we did that in Africa too. We did it with Nyere and Nkrumah. But either way, it's like, yeah, you know, that's like this is not, it's like not some rando. Like, I could understand if it was just some random dude with an opinion and you were like, oh, okay, that's cool. Like, matter of fact, there's a video of of black folk talking about Huey must be free. And in that video, you see Stokely Carmichael, Kwame Ture. You see, well, he was Stokely Carmichael back then. And you see him sitting down right next to Edgar Cleaver. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, but that's part of the reason he left. I know his ex-wife.
But Miriam Makeba? The singer.
When he was with the Panthers.
Okay.
I know his stepdaughter, Kwame Ture, right? I'm going to tell you something. And I just don't like to say too much. And she wanted to give an interview. She's older now, but then she thought about what
he's a good brother. He's a good brother, yeah.
But there's a lot of reasons why he left. Some things you say he said next to, like he didn't know. When he found out certain things, if you go listen to him when he left, he had things he was speaking out against the Black Panthers.
Nah, but here's the thing. Here's the thing I want to say though. That's the difference though. The trouble with us is that sometimes you can't just leave. Sometimes you have to motherfucking take heads. And this is why when I talk about state capture and power, that's the trouble. Because, he couldn't just kill the motherfucker because you in America. And you gotta, there's laws in place. And this is why you have to set up the laws. Because, see, Stalin could kill whoever he wanted because who the fuck was going to arrest him? You know what I'm saying? Mao can kill whoever he wants because who the fuck gonna arrest him? The dictators in Africa, they can kill whoever they want because who gonna fucking arrest them, right? Maybe America at some point, I don't know. But here's what I'm saying about what happened inside of America. You can't just be like, no, you know what? I'm gonna step away, right? You gotta motherfucking kill. And if you don't kill them, they might kill you. I was talking with Malcolm X, right? Just saying.
Yeah, but guess who he joined? Guess who he said was the strongest movement of them all?
Oh.
You know who he became friends with, right?
Was it Carlos Cooks? Who was it?
Martin Luther King. He said,
oh, yeah, Martin King, yeah.
He said Martin Luther King was stronger than them all. He said, I talked about facing white people. Martin Luther King faced white people. People might not like what he did. So since they didn't like what he did, let's say we're going to face white people like Martin Luther King, and we'll use some of Malcolm X ideas because Martin Luther King actually faced them. And what a lot of people don't know when they go to talking about that, they actually faced down with white people.
Yeah, Dr. King was... Dr. King... Oh, sorry.
I'm talking about Kwame Ture was with him.
Yeah, Dr. King created jobs. Dr. King created jobs. You go through his book, his words, he created jobs. He created opportunities. He knew that time was coming for black labor, and he tried to get us, better opportunities because, a lot of folk like to hyperbolize black history. One of the things, in fact, I shouldn't really, this might be a little bit of a tangent, but one of the things inside of Malcolm X's autobiography is that he's talking about Lansing, Michigan, and he's like, most of the black folk there were on welfare, or they were the best job they could get was as a porter, as somebody in the train or whatever, right? And Dr. King saw that black folk were being left behind economically, and he tried to make a shift and change that. We could nominally complain about it, but realistically, would we be sitting on the internet, talking if not for this quote unquote integration? Not saying that I like integration, but we have to also be realistic about how badly this white boy had us, what kind of a grip this white boy had us in. And if we're not being realistic about that, we're gonna be thinking, oh man, segregation was it. And it's no, segregation was not it. You did want desegregation, sure, separation would have been nice, and some black people accomplished that, but a lot of black folk were in the system, and Dr. King was, Dr. King was Dr. King was just being realistic, because there were debates with James Farmer and Malcolm X, where James Farmer is Malcolm X is we want our own nation in the middle of America, and James Farmer was what if they just bomb you though? And Malcolm X didn't have nothing to say to that. You know?
And the thing about it is, right, so for me, I don't want to beat up black people no more. I'm done with that, right? I really don't. But some stuff, like, I'm not even calling out the Panthers. That's why I said some stuff they did was good. But when we're looking for power, and the reason they had to come up, and other people had to come up because you was talking about power, right? So when you're looking for power, there has been one movement in this country, in this part of the world, that was creating power for black people in America and the islands, and they wanted to go back to Africa. He was not running to China. He was not running to South America. He was not trying to go to Cuba. He was trying to go to, we wanted power to connect with our brothers and sisters. The only way power is not given, power is taken either by force or taken by trickery. However you take it, right? But you're not going to create power for yourself if you are holding hands with the whole world and you are already at the bottom of the totem pole, economically, socially, and politically. So let's say hypothetically, their movement had taken over. Black people would have still been at the bottom because we were still dependent on everybody else. And that's what made what Garvey did. That's what made what Isaiah T. Montgomery did. That's what made what Booker T. You see, Booker T. Washington, yeah, he was able to get white folks money because he told white folks, look, we don't want to live around y'all. We don't want to vote in y'all election. We want to take care of ourselves. We're going to build a school because we want an education. Then what did he say? Pick your buckets up where you are. Taught black people to start businesses. And guess what? The white folks was paying for that money because black folks was doing. You understand what I'm saying? We did good work. And nobody ever did nothing perfect. But when you're looking for power, you got to be able to look to see how you can take care of yourself. Other people's not going to take care of you because if you group with other people, when you group with other people, so now, and you at the bottom, and everything goes, now let's just take their shit. They're weak anyway. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, look, it's like this. Yeah. Well, I was gonna say it this way. Black folk think they holding hands with other people. Remember, everybody else is holding them down. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's just holding them down, but they think they holding hands. You being held back. This white boy is just holding you back. And until you let go of this white boy, you're gonna be held back while he's being, or you're gonna be pulling him forward. And that's all it is.
Yeah.
That's all it is. Anyway, but it sounded like you was tuning out. Huh? You signing out?
I'm going to sign up for a minute now that you said that. I'm going to say I want everybody.
Oh, I thought you was going to say that.
And I didn't know this. I am about to get out, but I didn't know this when you said the socialist movement came here to derail the Garvey movement. And now that you said that, I just think about things that I've read and how Garvey was against socialism and telling his people don't be socialist. And it makes so much sense. I'm going to tell you something else that I have read, and I have to find my sources again, what was created to kind of go against the Garvey movement. Guess what that was?
But also the integration movement, right? Huh?
No.
Niagara Falls?
Oh,
yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, of course. Look, Matt, I mean, like, you got the book, though. You got Race First, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's a whole chapter on the socialists and so forth. By the way, you don't have to sign off. I thought you were going to say that. You don't have to. But
No. I'm going to listen offline. I want to get on this speak. I'm doing something, but I can still listen while I
Okay. I don't want you to, because I know what you're going to say. You're going to say I kicked you off or some shit. Yeah.
I'm going to say it anyway when you come back on my panel.
I know. I had to make sure for the record. You know what I'm saying? That ain't nothing like that happened. But
we have 2 shows today, man.
You got 2 shows?
Yeah, I'm going to do 2 today.
Oh, okay.
Have you heard about, I'm going to do, when you get out, I'm going to have you heard about, I might do 2, I might just have 1 long. But anyway, have you heard, Texas A&M University, have you heard about what they say in the Texas A&M University system and the University of Texas system and the Texas State, well, just the universities in Texas. Have you heard about what the white universities in Texas, what they're doing about diversity, equality, and inclusion?
No, is that the new?
Yeah, who do you think they're talking about? They don't just talk about the news. Who do you think when they're talking about this? Well, they're going to get rid of, they don't have to have diversity, equality, and inclusion anymore, and they don't have to be concerned about having diversity, equality, and inclusion for students. Who do you think they're getting rid of out of their universities? And who do you think they don't have to hire anymore when they're making those statements? On it.
Oh, sorry. Oh, I said you already said it. You know, as soon as you said all that, you already said who they was trying to exclude, who they no longer want to include. You can hear
me? In that, yes, I can hear you.
Oh yeah.
And that's a new statement that they'll come out with. And I'm gonna tell you something. See, and I know everybody ain't from down south, and a lot of times they don't know what I'm talking about when I say HBCUs. People think when I'm talking about HBCUs, I'm just taking them for the university. No, I'm talking about black people. So I'm going to call out these white universities, which black people are scared to talk about. 90% of our students, black students, go to white universities, right? So why don't y'all ever say nothing about them? It's only the schools where black people in charge that's a problem. So now, because these people are getting serious, bruh. That stuff that all this go together. Think about
That's what I'm saying, man. You see what happened with you see what happened in Tunisia? In Tunisia, they're like the government is like they're trying to blame immigrants or some shit for something. I don't know, but they are stabbing black people on the streets. On the streets, walking home bloodied head, stabbing black folk on the streets.
This shit is turning up.
They turning up, and that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm telling black folk. Y'all better go somewhere black, cause when they turn up, you're not gonna have too many chances. Cause these white boys turn. It's an on and off switch with these white boys. You know that smile is an on. Like you ever seen them white girls cry? They cry and then they go straight to smiling and shit. Let's say they just it's all fake. Their whole acceptance of you is fake, and they will fucking turn around and stab you. Like those people that you see, they will come around and stab you. It's not even a joke. It's not even a joke.
So I got to look that up because all this shit tied together. The DEI statement in Texas. Ron DeSantis invaded a college in Florida for trying to teach, as Herschel Walker say, CTR. We know it's CRT, but Herschel Walker say CTR.
Check this out. I want to give you something else right here. There's this lady in Florida who said that now when she's teaching in school, she has to put everything that she uses as teaching material onto the website, onto like online, so that the parents could see it. And if the parent disapproves, she can be charged with a felony type shit. Or not just if they disapprove, but if she teaches something that the parents disapprove of, right? She could be charged with a felony. You hear that? They are like, as I said, we should have never given our children to them. But the fact that they have our children, right? They are creating something that it's fucking us over. You know? Because like that's why I said I was writing this children's book, right? And I'm saying to myself while I'm writing the details for this children's book, right? These children are your next generation. And nobody's gonna give them a power mindset, let alone what you're gonna get in the public school system. What you're gonna get is some backward ass, dumb ass, stupid ass shit. And we are the people that has to put an end to it somehow. And if we don't, we're screwed. Because we're not even gonna get the power mindset. We're not gonna get the nation builder mindset from the public school system. But on top of that, public school system not gonna give you what you need. It's gonna give you what you need to destroy yourself. It's gonna give you the cocaine. It's gonna give you the opium. Right? It's gonna give you that. It's not like, oh, we're just not gonna give you fruits and vegetables. No, we're gonna give you cocaine and opium. On top of not giving you fruits and vegetables. And I mean, look, I'm saying to myself, look, that's what they're supposed to do. They don't like you. They don't like you. And I want black folk to get that through their heads that, hey, you know what? They're supposed to fucking fuck you over, one. And two, notwithstanding that, the fact that they're supposed to should tell you all you need to know about how you're supposed to position yourself in this world. But a lot of us are just making ourselves vulnerable. You know? I think one of the quotes I used to have was, "We are the only people who expect to be protected by the goodwill of our enemies." And that's really what it is. We're the only people. If you ask yourself, hey, who's protecting Russia right now? Russia's not relying on America to protect it. You know? You look at China. China's not relying on England to protect it. You know? These countries are looking after themselves. And that's why they call them world leaders. But who's supposed to protect us? Because even now we're looking at this article right here, and it's like, hey, you know, we need the colonial. You don't need the colonial independence. You don't need the colonial development model. But we put it in our heads that, yeah, we need a colonizer. We need the colonial framework that they left for us. It's bad. Brother, you there? Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, man.
The DEI intelligence. Ron DeSantis invading the school for teaching, had people invade the school for teaching, CRT. Then you look and see what's going on in Mississippi trying to create the Jim Crow. Then I can just go on and on. I'm going to see if I can find this thing on, there's a town here in Georgia, right outside of Atlanta, because people, see, they don't put these on make it national, right? Because they don't want them to have a reputation. Mississippi and Alabama can people put national. They got a reputation as if it's any different, right? Called Johns Creek. They built a mosque. Muslims was putting a mosque in John Creek, right? Them white people said on live TV in an interview that we built this town for us. And if we didn't want other people, we wanted to live by ourselves. And if they put a mosque here, we gonna shoot everybody go in it.
Shit.
Now, guess the only person that ever got shot out there? It was a
black person.
Woman shot by the police, not no Arab, just a black Ethiopian woman. That was it. Dude, these people are together, and we don't understand, but we rush to go live around them. The same things that they did, that they're doing in Mississippi now, that has been made national news in public. I tell everybody, they did it here in Atlanta. They're doing it in Atlanta right now, but you can't give Atlanta a bad reputation, right? Because white people actually control Atlanta. People don't believe that, but that's who controls Atlanta.
Who don't believe that?
You know what I mean? They are doing it right now in Atlanta. They ain't hiding it. And these people, they are ready. So what they do is we can put it down south and say, you know, it's down south, so on and so forth. But I'm going to tell you something. A lot of northern white folks a long time ago, of course, after slavery, donated money to HBCUs down south, right? Guess what? Why didn't they put them, all the black people in New York, when the Rockefellers and all them who was in New York, when they donated money to these universities, why didn't they help start any of these universities in New York? Because they didn't want black people around them. That's what we don't understand. And another thing I'm tired of black people saying, we like to insult, well, white people control. We was coming out of slavery. We didn't have money to start a university.
They want some black billionaire or something, you know? But bro, we gonna tune in. We're going to tune in. Make sure you guys tune in to Brother Bakari. Make sure you guys tune in to Brother Bakari, because I look like we're going to have this conversation. Matter of fact, Brother Bakari, just put it on. Let's just how I make it so I stream into your thing. I'm going to make a dual podcast. No, I just messed it. Oh, let me actually read these comments, though. I just realized before we get off track. You there, brother? Wait, you there? Okay. Yeah, Tecum says the question of what we can, should sell should be based on our consumption needs, right? Which is, that's basically, that's economics right there. Kofi says we must review our elders and movements, which is exactly what we're supposed to be doing. Tecum says from consumer electronics to consumer household goods to food, textile, clothing, etc. And then Kofi says, remember one of the Black Panther female leaders with a CIA white man. Sounds like something made up, but it's real. Yeah, I think it was that lady became president too. She was introduced by this. It's like how infiltrated this thing was pretty bad. But like you said, in regard to this thing. Like, we should definitely. I want everybody to check out Brother Bakari. By the way, bro, you should get a bump. One of them ads, so that when I'm playing the ads for the different programs, that people could hear your thing. Although I mentioned it anyway. Let me just jump to this article quickly. So, huh? No, all you gotta do is just record something, just saying, "Hey, this is Brother Bakari. Tune into." You know what I mean?
I did record something and put it on Telegram. I already did that.
For real? What happened then? That's crazy.
I don't know. I'll record it again and send it to you.
Maybe it ain't hip. Maybe you ain't got no music or something. Maybe you don't got no. Maybe you don't got no background music going. No, but
I will record it again and send it on Telegram. But I'm finna listen offline, man. Let me finish doing what I'm doing while I can hear. Thank you for letting me speak, and I hope to chat. I hope I said something that they like.
Oh yeah, for sure. Hey, look, I wanna tune in right after. But all right, boss. So let me see if I could, because this article is short anyway, so it's not like this article is short. I was just trying to drag out the time. But let's see. The silver lining is that there is a potential here. Wait, could you guys see the screen again? Anyway, appreciation for Brother Bakari for coming through. He usually don't. But nah, I usually don't. I remember last time I put my link. In fact, in times I was in Africa, you ain't never showed up, which was like I was only putting my link in the chat. But yeah, all right. The silver lining is that there is potential here, with growing recognition by policymakers of the role that science and technology can play in achieving national development goals and transforming Africa's economic growth story. Moreover, given the positive correlation between growth and environments that beget competition and innovation, competitiveness must be fostered. Okay, whatever. Again, this is just another nonsense statement. So this is not as exciting as the conversation with Brother Bakari, but it is what it is, right? Some people want to hear this. All right, so thus African countries must create an enabling environment through pro-innovation, pro-science, and pro-technology policies dedicated to overcoming barriers related to regulation, corruption, and investment. Like what is she even talking about? While enabling private sector innovation, adaptation, and adoption. At the same time, African governments must also invest in creating an ecosystem that facilitates investment in science and technology in a way that will not just accelerate discovery, but allow innovation to enter the marketplace more quickly. So this is a very interesting statement. African governments must be about, science and technology. The only people, again, we have the article with Nkrumah, where he is like, look, I'm developing science and technology for my people, and then the CIA and them overthrow him. You understand? And it's not even speculation. The CIA admit, yeah, we overthrew this guy, right? They overthrow him for pursuing science and technology. What we have to realize is that no people, like the Western world, is not interested in you developing yourself. If you don't understand this, right? Like there's nothing else you can understand. I can tell you guys this. In fact, I'll tell you this. I don't know if Brother Bakari is still here, but let me just double check. But I can tell you guys this about what. Oh no, he left. Okay, all right. When my father was younger, right, he was a part of a political party in Jamaica. The political parties in Jamaica are different from America in the sense that because America has its dichotomy as Democrats and Republicans, right? The political parties in Jamaica, they were on the base level, on the fundamental level, right? They decided who gets to eat, who gets to starve, and who gets to not starve. Basically you get political donations, political donors, you get control of the political government, you have access to a lot of money. Now with that money, you pay your gang members, or you pay your stooges, you pay their families, you pay, whatever. Basically, you know the situation. Gangster shit, right? So if you were part of one political party and your political party won, right, you were eating. And I guess you probably see this in Nigeria. You were eating. Right? Because this is a poor people. So a lot of the money is going to come from abroad. Right? And yeah, you can tell I was hanging out with a Jamaican. It's like a little bit of accent coming out, right? But anyway, so a lot of the money comes from abroad, right? Or foreign, right? Over yonder. All right. But anyway, a lot of money comes from abroad, right? And because if you're not a productive people, if you're not selling, like Tikum was saying, if you're not selling, right, then what happens is that the way you get money is other people give it to you, right? You're living on donation, right? If you're living on donation, what happens is this. Your political party then becomes a major source of money, or the biggest source of money, right? When it becomes the biggest source of money, people are fighting over that because it means life or death for some people. All right? Now, here's where I want to tell you about my father, right? So my father, when he's younger, he's held at gunpoint by another person who says, renounce your political party. And my dad told him no. Now, hearing that story, I'm like, damn, that's a man. He's brave and shit. Now, of course, if the other man pulled the trigger, right, I wouldn't be here. So it is a little wild to like throw your life away, but it's not throwing your life away, you know, because sometimes you know, politics is really fundamental. Again, politics is life and death, right? Politics is life and death. So it's really fundamental. Sure, I would have been dead, but you know, like there's more of me, you know? Either way, what I want to say is this. First time I hear that story, I'm like, damn, my father brave. He's a man. He you know, it sounds a little silly, but he's a man. You know, he stands up for himself, right? And like me too, I was standing up for myself as well, right? Politically, of course, right? And that's what political parties are about. You're supposed to stand up for them, right? You're supposed to have your party loyalty. Now get this. When you do a little research, you realize that one political party is more pro-America and the other political party is more pro-Russia. You understand? That's you see? So you're all the way in Jamaica and you have Americans funding one political party and Russians funding another. So they had a Cold War proxy fight in the middle of Jamaica, right? And my father nearly got killed over it. A lot of Jamaicans were killed over this Cold War proxy fight. Now, some Jamaicans will tell you it's not so simple or something like that, but it really is, right? It really is. No, don't worry about, because again, these academics, they like to conflate and confuse and whatever, right? It really is that simple. I really was hanging out with a Jamaican because I'm sounding Caribbean, right? But here's what it is though, right? You know, because of this proxy fight, you realize that when they talk about barriers to when I tell you about killing, because I know you got like, yo, Oni, you talking a lot more about killing a lot recently. Yeah, of course, you know, because this is the Warship. This is not you know what was it before that? Enemies Within, I think. It's not Enemies Within, you know, you can't just take up people. You know, this is general speaking, but anyway, like that's more specific, you know, threats of violence. This is just telling you, you know, the political party, one of the reasons why Jamaica would have been so unstable, politically unstable, is because two different foreign entities were funding two different political ideologies or economic models. And that made Jamaica unstable, made Jamaica very violent. You know, apparently some people say Jamaicans were violent, like they thought Jamaicans were violent. I had no idea. I never heard that. But they said that was one of the reputations of Jamaicans, that they were violent, right? Like, again, I never heard that personally, but it is what it is. But either way, if you do not, now, I don't recommend political, see, because technically this, if you were in Jamaica, both of those political parties would have been your enemy. But the fact that you kept both political parties active, right? Or both political parties could be active, and both political leadership models and both economic models, both of them were accessible by foreigners, right? It screwed up the country. And it screwed up how the country could develop. So when we talk about, when these Westerners say, hey, you know, we have to overcome barriers of corruption, investment, all that regulation. The corruption, the regulation, the investments, these are all the problems. These are all the problems in the sense of, these are all the foreigners. These are all what the foreigners set up. And unless you deactivate the foreigners in your land and the foreign sympathizers, which unfortunately would have included my father if he was a part of one of these political parties, right? But of course, the political party was life or death. But either way, unless you deactivate those people who are active and willing to die and willing to act on behalf of these wrong political parties, these are Scotty political parties. And I'm not saying my father's a Scotty, because I don't want anybody coming at me with some science and say, well, son of a Scotty is a Scotty, you know? But what I want to say is this. And again, remember, in Jamaica, it's a little more particular in the sense of, you don't have a choice. It's not like in America where, you could still eat when the Republicans are in power. You still eat. In fact, my brother says that he eat better. It's a thing, right? But what I'm going to say is that, it's not the same, right? But either way, what's upon you is for you to set up political party, and when you do, yes, you have to get rid of those political parties outside of Africa. Those political parties that are based outside of Africa. And unless you do that, no, you're not going to have innovation, science, and technology. And I mean, I will say Russia might be more for you to be innovative, scientific, and technological. But all the same, like I told you earlier, it's a means to an end. Like I told you earlier, it's a means to an end. I can't believe I am sounding a little Caribbean though. I wonder if Kofi agree. I'm gonna ask in the chat. Where's the? Oh yeah. The show. Let me see. So let me see the. So Bit of Medicine says I have a new bump coming with everyone. Kofi says points was good. Making things simple is good. The show Posse started the violent thing. I don't even know the. Oh, show Posse. Is the show that name Posse? I know. I can't ask Brother Macari or Forecast whether I sound Caribbean because they probably. I know. To Brother Macari, I just always sound Caribbean. Something weird? I actually knew this American lady who would make the most insulting comments about my Caribbean heritage. Like, I think she would call me a coconut or some shit. Like, what kind of nonsense is that? And you're just like, damn, like, where do you even get that from? Anyway, like, she had some real hatred for black folk outside of America. And of course, black people outside of America were not considered black to her, which is random. And she wasn't even a part of ADOS, which is the weirdest thing. She didn't even know about. She couldn't even use the internet, and she just had these weird, like, hateful beliefs about black America. Black people were not a black American. Anyway, so at the same time, African governments must also invest in creating an ecosystem that facilitates investment in science and technology. Now I sound like I'm not Caribbean. In a way that will not just accelerate discovery, but allow innovation to enter the marketplace more quickly. So again, it's not so much the African government. See, so all right. So I told you guys about the children's book. So the last image in the children's book. This is really one of the last images in the children's book is politician. It says, "I want to be a politician." Right? I want to show you guys that. This is probably one of the most important ones. Right? Now, obviously, the last page is go forth and prosper, whatever. But what I want to say is this. I can write the laws that change the world and guarantee freedom for every boy and girl. Now, actually, I'm going to tell you guys this. I actually don't like this one. This is the only time I don't do a direct rhyme, but it's whatever. Because I usually like real rhymes, not, similar sounding words. Just in case you guys were like, should I get this book? But like most everything else is rhymes, right? So I can develop hospitals, nurseries, and schools. Everyone will be happy with how my party rules. This is what I want your children to know. This is what I want us to know. That don't say African governments. Say political parties. You understand? When you get that, you have to then look into the political party in place. When you look into the political party in place, that's when things start to add up. if you do not look into the political party, it's not going to. It's like you're going to say, oh, it's Africa. Oh, Tarat, did this thing cut off the meeting? I guess because nobody else is in there. That's wild. But it's an uptown Jamaican. Kofi says you sound like an uptown Jamaican. I don't know if that's a I don't know if that's a compliment or not, but okay. No, I was hanging out with somebody from Kingston yesterday. But anyway, all right. So bridging the skills deficiency gap in science, technology, and innovation is vital to unlocking Africa's potential and accelerating economic growth and prosperity. The best trained, most talented researchers gravitate to environments where their work is leveraged by modern equipment, reliable utilities, and sufficient funding for supplies, and perhaps most critically, where they can benefit from the presence of other talented people. Okay, so again, like I said, the political party, you have to study the political party. You have to. This is why I want to write a book on political ideology, because you have to have a political ideology that says, yeah, I'm about that technological advancement. What you're gonna figure out, what you're gonna peep very early when it comes to Africa's political parties is, one, a lot of them are about racial unity. You know, interracial unity. A lot of them are about interracial unity. A lot of them are about and I'm not saying, and when I say a lot of them, I'm not saying I'm saying a lot of them. I'm saying, like, one of the things that really took me aback when I was younger was I read Lumumba's, I think it was like Lumumba's last speech or one of Lumumba's speech, or Lumumba's speech after his presidency. And this man is really talking about, forget about all these wicked things white folk did to you. Put it behind you. Sure, they made you, sit in the, carry them on carts and all that kind of stuff. Sure, they did all that shit, but forget it. And like, when I read that, I was like, because Malcolm X would tell you Lumumba's the greatest African who ever lived, which I would not say, just because Taharka is a person, Queen Anne's a person, Queen Nzinga's a person, but like, yeah, what Lumumba says, okay, yeah, I don't have the speech here. What Lumumba says in his speech is enough for most people to say, okay, well, like that's not what we should be saying at this point. I'm surprised I don't have, I'm surprised I don't have, what's political strategy for the Congo? No, okay. I don't know, let me see. I'm mad I don't have this article. That's crazy. So that's one of the most important articles there too. One of the most important speeches is the Lumumba speech. But like, Lumumba is straight up, I don't want to just search it and because again, like, when you search things, like, you never know what's going to show up. But let's just see if I could even find it. Let's see. Lumumba acceptance speech, maybe. But like, it really is that, and I mean, like, you can't blame him. Look at this. It's on the Marxist.org. Yeah, Congolese independence speech. That's probably it. Ceremony of the Proclamation of the Congolese. You can't blame him. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, like the thing is this, that you could try to go, you could try to be politically correct, and that's not going to stop them from killing you. It's like with Dr. King. You could preach peace. Like, you could be like, oh, you sound stupid. You preaching war, but you should really be preaching speech. It doesn't matter what you, like if realistically, if you understand how the world works, other people, like it's best for you to get your message out. It's best for you to get your message out. We shall institute in this country a peace resting not on guns and bayonets, but on concord and goodwill. Every Belgian, even Belgium, which has finally learned the lesson of history and no longer tries to oppose our independence, is prepared to give us its aid and friendship. For that, an agreement has been signed between... This is the same people that kill him. I think that cooperation will benefit both countries. For our part, we shall remain vigilant, Again, like sometimes, one of the most proud things I've seen when I was younger was this black man who was just telling it like it is. And even though they killed him, it's like, that's what you have to do. Like, after I published the Book of Power, I was like, I don't know how much longer I have on this earth. You know, surprisingly, people were like, hey, man, black folk don't read, so it is what it is. But, like, we have not forgotten that the cities, like, this is all, we've experienced the atrocious suffering, being persecuted for political convictions and religious belief and exiled from our native land. Our lot was worse than death itself, you know? We have not forgotten that the cities and the mansions were for the whites and tumble down huts for the blacks, that a black was not admitted to the cinemas, restaurants, and shops set aside for Europeans, that a black traveled in the holes under the feet of whites in their luxury cabins. Who will ever forget the shooting which killed so many of our brothers, or the cells which were mercilessly thrown those who no longer wish to submit to the regime of injustice, oppression, and oppression used by the colonialists as a tool of domination. So you're thinking, okay, he's going to fuck them up now, right? He's like, all that, my brothers, brought us untold suffering. But we, who were elected by the votes of your representatives, represented our people together, we have suffered in body and soul from the colonial. We tell you henceforth that all that is finished with. Yeah. We tell you that henceforth all that is finished with. Oh, wait, which again, doesn't sound too bad yet. He's like, has proclaimed our beloved country's future is now in the hands of its own people. Whether let's commence a new struggle, a sublime struggle. See, I'd have to read this. I haven't read this in so long. Establish social justice. Oh, yeah. We shall establish social justice and assure for every man a fair remuneration for his labor. We shall show the world what the black man can do with working in liberty. We shall work, blah, blah, blah. At some point, let me see. Where is it? Revise old laws. Benefit its children. Let me see. At some point, he's just like, citizens to the fullest extent. Oh, yeah. We shall eradicate all discrimination, whether its origin, and we shall ensure for everyone a station in life befitting the human dignity. Basically, long story short, it's like these white boys ain't going to get nothing. You know? These white boys are not going to get nothing. And it's like, again, like I said, like, I want us as African people to understand, and I might have to read this, maybe another time I'll read this, right? Because, again, I don't remember this. I read it like 10 years ago, so it's a little bit tougher. But what I'm saying is this. When you tell this white boy he ain't going to get nothing, that's fine. Because this white boy got something for you. You understand? I learned this a lot. Like I told you, I learned this a long time ago in my own family, in fact. You know, like I said, I one time, you know, choked my brother, right? You know, like I just strangled him, right? Not to death, obviously, but like near there, right? And then he just got up, ran away, and man, he's bigger than me, right? He ran away, and he came back and he beat the shit out of me. And it told me, look, and obviously it's my brother, so it's okay. You know, like I lived, he lived. It's good. Right now, he is a coon, so whatever. But it's good. But what it told me is this. It don't matter if you win the battle. It does not matter if you've won the battle. You have to fucking win the war. And in fact, like that's actually the first article I ever wrote was that. It was based off of something that Leonard Jeffries says. Let me see. That was actually the first article I ever wrote. Ah, shit. Let's see. When? I don't know. I don't remember the name of the fucking article, but let me see if I can. This stupid thing is like. I'm trying to find the word article. It's like impossible, you know. But like we win at we lose. I think the title is lose. For some reason, I can't find this stupid thing. But the one of the first articles I wrote was along the lines of how we don't win at the negotiation table. Like we always. We always lose at the negotiation table, and it's like realistically, I think if I were to look back in time, if I were to go to my younger self, I would have said no. What happens is you don't kill your enemy. You have to kill your enemy, and because you don't kill your enemy, things go south, or I shouldn't say south. I should say north, right? But things go north, you know, because the African people are south, right? But anyway, let's go back to the article. Let's go back to this thing because I don't know. I can't remember the name of this stupid article. Like sometimes you get this nagging obsession to remember whatever it's called, but I can't even. Like, yeah, I used to write a whole bunch of articles once upon a time. And the reason why I started selling books is because some other motherfucker was selling books, and he was like a total idiot. But like, it reminded me, this is something that I encourage everybody to know, that you cannot talk about African economics and Africa's producing what they need to consume and all that stuff, and you don't produce. Like, you should have a book or something, not a book. I mean, books are not, all that, but like, you should have something. I mean, I only have a book because, I don't have much else, but like, if you could get more, then you should get more. And in fact, I should even point out that Rutundo, remember that brother from last week, Rutundo, he has a book. I mean, he has a farm where he's selling cows and stuff, or like cow meat, right? Or goat meat or something like that. Organic foods. He's focusing on that. So it's like, you should be doing something. And if you're not a part of the economy, then you're part of the problem. You know what I mean? Like, if you're not part of the economy, you're part of the problem. And I get that. I feel that. I'm going to show you guys that later, but let me just go back to the article. He says, yeah, but also this is important. Like, yeah, you're telling people. So you want a political party that is going to support African talent. But if you don't have, but again, it's like Negroes always knocking on the wrong door, talking to the wrong people, asking the wrong questions. You don't have that. So let's see. Ike Fire says, he says, my people. Ike Fire says, respect. Everybody's greeting. So, James is here. He says, hey, greetings. So greetings to James. So yeah, family's coming through. Am I not showing the article? All right. So, all right, I got to learn how to switch back and forth. So I say, thus the tide of Africa's brain drain must be reversed by creating a world-class education and research infrastructure that will keep the best minds on the continent and attract new ones. Already, South Africa leads the way here with a robust research system comprised of excellent universities and science facilities that allow it to be a full-fledged contributor to the global scientific community and an integral participant in international collaborations. Now, remember this. If you're going to set up a research center somewhere in Africa, you might need government approval. Like you need a political party behind you, and if you have a political party that's not in power, that might affect your thing. So again, we have to focus on political parties. So anyway, let's keep going. As human talent is developed across the continent, investment in research, science, and innovation will increase dramatically across various sectors, including manufacturing, which will be a significant factor in helping Africa realize its development potential and narrow its income and welfare gaps. In fact, business-to-business spending in manufacturing in Africa is projected to reach $1 trillion by 2050, a trend that creates a massive opportunity for the continent's overall growth. Creating a system, because again, this is just talk. It's just talk. Because again, like if you don't have the politicians, because y'all saw what I said in the kids thing, right? In the kids book, the politician could set up the nursery, like if I wanted to open up a nursery, a child care center, I have to apply to the U.S. government. I have to apply to, or the New York State, whatever, New York City, whatever, and say, hey, this is a nursery. Link me on the nursery depository or whatever, the information or whatever, right? And two, here, come inspect my nursery. They're going to inspect my nursery and they're going to ask me, where is your teaching certificate? The teaching certificate that they set up themselves. So the government sets up the teaching certificate. The government approves, sends out somebody to look into whether your nursery is going forward. And so in essence, you don't have it if you don't have the political party in power in mind. You understand? And that's how it is everywhere. Now, some places, have less regulations in a sense where you could get away with, I don't have a teacher certificate, but you ain't really looking at me, right? And that's poorer places, of course. Not everybody's gonna have the resources to check out, so on and so forth. Of course, I would have to pay a fee and all that kind of stuff, but a fee for somebody to come and look through my stuff. But this is the thing that we have to get together, which is that, because even like when I was trying to buy land in Africa, right? You have to go through certain legal processes. You have to get documents notarized, and lawyers are looking over your documents. Is this consistent with the laws in place? There's so much going on behind the scenes, right? And so much, and everything that goes behind the scenes is related to the political infrastructure. And so when we talk about economics, you remember that politics is something put in place to protect economics, protect the economy. And so you must realize when I say that there is an economy in place right now in Africa that is debilitating and dehumanizing and so on, right? That economy is being politically protected, or is being protected by the political powers at hand. And so for you to go to Africa and try to be against that economy, for you to be in Africa, to be against colonization, to be about decolonial message, decolonization, right? You are automatically at odds with the political powers at hand. Because let's say I'm a politician. Let's say I'm an Askari politician, right? If I'm an Askari politician, right? I'm getting money from America to make sure that America is getting money from Africa. You understand? I'm getting money from America. See, that's a soundbite. That's why I don't want to say that. But you understand? All right, if I was an Askari is getting money from America so that America can get money from Africa. That's what an Askari is doing. So now if you come through and you say America should not be getting money from Africa anymore, right? The Askari is now being told you're not doing your fucking job. Or America, even if you, let's say you kick the Americans out. Let's say you're successful in whatever, right? Who's paying the Askari now? Who's feeding the Askari? How is the Askari feeding his family? So you're threatening the Askari's livelihood. And if you don't kill him, what's he going to do to you? And you go back to Lumumba. Because the thing is, I don't want people to say, hey, Ona, you keep talking about kill. But you don't need to kill anybody. You don't need to, we could live. Can't we all just get along? I wish we could. No, I don't. But, I just want to say that, in response. But what I'm saying is, Lumumba thought we could all get along. Dr. King thought we could all get along. Thomas Sankara thought we could all get along. Okay? Now see, Marcus Garvey knew we couldn't all get along and he lived a full life. Carlos Cooks knew we couldn't all get along and he lived a full life. You know what I mean? Malcolm X originally thought, we can't get along, and then he started thinking we couldn't. He didn't live a full life. You know what I'm saying? No disrespect to Malcolm X. But what I'm saying is that, and I'm not saying that everybody, everybody, whatever, but what I want you to understand is that when you are threatening somebody else, and this is just common sense. We all know this. If I go into the hood and I say, look, I'm going to start selling drugs in this neighborhood, right? If somebody else was selling drugs in that neighborhood, they're going to want to kill me. And the thing is, it's not even limited to black folk. If I am in Italy and I have a bakery and then somebody opens a bakery right next door to me, and let's say I'm a white man. I'm a white man in Italy, or a white man, basically, for those you don't know, sometimes you'll see white people brawling in the streets of Italy or Europe, somewhere, fighting in the streets. And the reason why they're fighting is because both of them have the same business in the same area. It's humans. It's like economics and politics. That's what it is. Politics, that the political movement is related to the protection of your economy. And so, again, when you see these kind of things going on in Africa, you have to understand that the reason why Africa is the way it is because the political situation is such that that is what the foreigners want. Or that is what the political leaders want based off of what the foreigners want. It's not, oh, well, they didn't build the infrastructure yet. No, you could build the infrastructure. If I build the research center on, like I say, if I build the nuclear energy center, you think America's just going to sit back and say, well, it's them and they're indigenous? Is that what they did with Korea? Anyway, let's go. Let's finish this off. Creating let me see what the comments are like. James says, I'm working, therefore I'm part of the economy. Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm saying. We're like a lot of it. Yeah. That's why because see, the thing is, again, we all have to eat. And if you don't have a farm, how are you going to eat? That's the big question. If you don't have a farm, how are you going to eat? Because we're living in cities, we do have to work, right? Or something. Work or beg. I don't know. Right? But somehow we need to get food. Otherwise, we're going to starve to death. We are animals just like any other animal. If you take a lion out of its environment, right? Like a lion's going to jump through, you could take a lion out of its environment and starve it enough to the point where it's going to be jumping through hoops. It's going to be dancing on a ball. It's going to be doing some dumb shit like that lions never do. Like lions never do in the wild. Like never. It's going to do that shit because you control the food. So the trouble with, but see, white people or foreigners do not want you feeding yourself, because when, he who feeds you controls you. If you can feed yourself, you don't need any of their controls. You don't. And I know you're saying to yourself, well, Africa has a lot of food. No, I mean, when I go to supermarket in Africa, very little products produced in Africa, except for some from South Africa. But most of it's like the Middle East and stuff like that. Middle East, South Asia, obviously some American and other type of stuff too, right? But most of it is foreign built. Now the main food I observed, well, there's ugali, there's potatoes, there's chips, and there's chicken. I don't know if I think the chicken might be local. Actually, no, they have local chicken and they have foreign chicken. But local chicken, yeah, was a little more expensive. But they have local chicken. But for the most part, like potatoes were imported. I don't know about ugali, but I'm not gonna hold you guys. I wouldn't recommend ugali. I mean, I shouldn't say that after saying, hey, there's a political purpose behind it, kind of, but I mean, like, shit, boys. I mean, it ain't fufu. I didn't even like fufu, but I would rather fufu over ugali. Ugali was, man, I have memory of that. Anyway, so creating an ecosystem where scientific culture can be central to economic transformation and policy making. Creating an ecosystem where scientific culture can be central to economic transformation and policy making decisions is a long-term investment that must be at the mercy of either political or business. That must not be at the mercy of either political or business cycles. So again, this is just a nonsense statement. This is just a nonsense statement, and this is the thing that they will tell you. You'll repeat it. And basically all you'll be telling people is that you're a fool. You understand? But most people are not going to pick up on it. See, white people going to know you a fool when you saying it's not going to be at the mercy of the political or business cycle. You're going to create can you imagine? You're going to create an ecosystem where scientific culture can be central to economic transformation and policy making. Like, it sounds so good. You're going to create the ecosystem where you are influencing the policymakers. And I mean, I know, look, to some extent, this is not impossible, but to another extent, like to the real world, right? You need the policymakers to want an ecosystem of science. Because if the policymakers are not about science, they're gonna fucking kill you. You know what I mean? Like I can't be in the middle of Haiti right now, with all the wars going, like with all the gang warfare going on, and thinking to myself, I'm going to open up a lab. And when I open up this lab, the people are going to be at peace. No. What I need is, if I were in Haiti and I wanted a scientific, and I wanted a science, a lab, right? I would have to work with one of these gang leaders. You understand? That's a political structure. I have to work with one of these gang leaders and be like, hey, I'm going to set up a lab for you. And then that's when they will protect it. They will not protect your lab if you're not with them. Then nobody, and that's the thing too. Nobody's supposed to protect your lab if you're not with them. Like nobody. Nobody. And it's like it reminds me of the COVID labs, the COVID lab in Wuhan or something like that, right? Where it's like what are you doing in your science? Like, what are you doing in your damn laboratory? What are you doing in your laboratory that you think that? Oh well, because I'm doing science. Like I reminded this video I saw recently where they were like, basically in Germany there was like a lot of LGBT institutes, and then the Germans came through and burned their books, because they were like, the fuck, But that's what it is. It's like, if you're not about the political party at hand, it's supposed to be like, the fuck? And that's like the real world, and the imaginary world where you could just open up your own institute anywhere, and nobody's supposed to burn down your thing. And it's like that's like just it's just like, I don't know how to say it, because I want people to understand that when I'm talking about realism. So even that, you could. So I'm gonna bring up the quote unquote contradictions myself, because some people are gonna say, well, only does that mean that when you open up a black institute, that means that these white people are going to try to destroy it, or that yes, that's exactly what it means. If I'm in America and I open up, like y'all saw the drama that happened with that brother, the brother in I can't remember, he was in Temple University, the president of Molefi Asante. Like, y'all remember the drama with Molefi Asante? Brother has this whole like this is considered the most Pan-African like graduate program in the country. Okay? Like, we talking reading Chancellor Williams, as in a graduate, lens or whatever, in the college or something like that, right? This brother's now talking about LGBT stuff and taking money from the Democrats. Right now. He's not talking about elections right now. And that's what it's, and that's the thing is, that's like, you might be like, well, that's terrible. That's what it's supposed to be. You think you're gonna have a black, blackity black without the political, without the policymakers having a say in their own country? And you're gonna like again, you create a system where black culture can be central to economic Like, it making sense when I'm saying it now, right? Economic transformation and policy making decisions and a long-term investment that's not at the mercy of political or business cycles. Like, again, there's the idealism. Like, yeah, that sounds cool. I would love that. Like, me personally, I'd love that. I would work towards that. Yeah. But realistically, I know that's a shot in the dark. I know how humans operate. Humans do not let you do whatever you want on their land. You can't be at another man's house and do whatever you want. Now, there's a limit. When you start talking about, I'm in your house and I'm a take you down, that's when this motherfucker's like, hold on. So success will require effective tripartite public-private academia collaborations and partnerships that will need to be sustained over time. If Africa can do this in the era of the African Continental Free Trade Area, the benefits of science, technology, and innovation can be marshaled for greater economic, social, and environmental sustainability, both on the continent and beyond. So what I'm going to say is this. This was not... So I asked this brother for the economics type thing, article. I'm going to say this is not really... Like, again, this is just saying a bunch of nothing and not understanding how things work. You know, so if we go back to the original question, right? And I actually do want to go to the original, the graphic I put too, which is, investment in science and technology is key to an African boom, right? No. See, political restructuring is key to an African economic boom. Killing a Scotty is key to an African economic boom. Okay? That's like again, I say this. Impoverishment. No, how do you say? Damn it. So this is actually pretty interesting. So right here, you go back to my original website. Core tenets, right? So I had core tenets. So before I was like, I'm not going to write out a bunch of philosophy. I'm going to write down a few core tenets that are central towards building a philosophy, right? And I don't know if I will keep all of them, but these are like, this right, opposing wrong makes it right, so on and so forth. But here it is. This one is the third one. Prosperity, independence, and community is the removal of impoverishment, dependency, and individualism, right? Nutshell. Prosperity is the removal of impoverishment. Okay? What happens is this. If you want Africa to go through an economic boom, if you want Africa to have prosperity, you must remove impoverishment. There are people in Africa actively impoverishing African people. Now, originally, I thought this article was going to be about, us developing, our own sort of scientific products and then selling it abroad. What's important to remember is this. You can't sell to other people if they don't want to buy from you. Like I said in regards to what Adam Smith was saying, he's like, look, just don't buy whatever the motherfucking French are selling. If you're English and you want to develop your potato industry, do not buy French potatoes. Don't matter if they're cheaper. So when you go to the global market, you're going to have your own potatoes. What happens is that this is why when I outline inside of my book, what we call Boko Waset Nakedo, right? One of the most important things is that the people who are buying things on both sides of are the same nation, are usually the same nation, are usually within the same people group. So when Africa is selling resources to Italy, right? You know who's selling those resources to Italy from Africa? An Italian. Look, it's not a one-to-one. It's not a perfect. You could obviously find somebody who's not an Italian selling to Italy, sure. But what I'm saying is that for the most part, the people selling things to England are English. The people who are selling things to France are French. People who are selling things to Italy are Italian. And yet they are in Africa. You understand? And that's what you understand. They have buyers. When you get rid of the Italian, you no longer have that connect with Italy. Or if you do, you have to have somebody who is connected with Italy in some capacity. Anyway. All that to say that, so I thought that was what the article was going to be about. But this article was just kind of just talking, from a misunderstanding point of view about economics. And this is one of the reasons why African people are not going to, it's going to be very unlikely for African people to advance if they're not studying nations in the sense that in the same sense that I'm expressing it, right? Because when you think, we could just open up a science lab and everything's gonna go good for us, right? Nothing that goes so. Nothing goes that way. Or we could just open up a pro-black institute and everything's gonna go. No, it doesn't. In fact, right here, you go back to this because I had a whole bunch of articles. I had a bunch of articles. This reminds me of what was it? Some school. Let me see. I was actually interested in Newark. There was a school in Newark. Let's see if I can find it. This Amiri Baraka. I have so many. I'm getting old. I'm sorry. I'm getting old. But there was this school in Newark that has a whole they were teaching Swahili and stuff in New Jersey. They had like their own pro like African school, all that kind of stuff. But it's like if you don't have the difference between like if you don't have the politicians behind you, like that's on you. That's on you. And actually, I know people don't like this part about Garvey, but it made a lot of sense when Garvey said it. But Garvey said, yeah, you have to make friends with the political power. Like if you really want to navigate on this planet properly, right? You just like it's you shouldn't be in America. Like you just shouldn't, because the things that you should do in order to navigate this world properly, right, is not something that you want to do while you're in America. You know, it's not something that you want to do while you're in America. So I'm gonna just give it to you guys because I know like I don't particularly like it myself, but I'm just gonna give it to you guys. Because Marcus Garvey gives advice and he says, hey, look, you should be like, for instance, you should be obeying laws. You should be engaging your politicians. You should be, talking with your neighbors type stuff, and remember this image right here. So I'm not going to replace that one. Let me go over here. This is the Google Drive for Marcus Garvey, Message to the People. But Marcus Garvey is going to tell you, this is one of the, like I said, there's 3 books that I absolutely recommend for African people, and this is one of the 3. Yeah, this is one of the 3. Obviously, Book of Power is one of them, and Ptah Htp is another one. But there's 3 books. This is one of the 3. But Marcus Garvey is going to tell you, yeah, obey the law. And it's like what he's saying makes sense. I would not say it myself. Like he would say, go vote. I would not say that myself. He says, this must not be a license to disobey the laws of kings of other races or rulers of other races while you live under their control. You must always seek and work for a government absolutely your own, where you and your children will have a chance like anybody else in the state, to a chance to rise from the lowest to the social, while you may not attain under other governments. While you're under alien governments, get the best out of them as rights of citizenship, but always have in view of doing something to make it possible for your race to have a nation and a government of its own. So that's good. But like the thing is with Garvey is that he is very politically mature and he understands it. He understands the world. Any kind that your community or society condemns, be careful not to violate the rule of law because you will lose respect to the community. I'm just gonna look for because at some point he just tells us. Any society must be calculated to bring about the greatest good you must obey its laws, otherwise you are an evil genius living in the midst of society, and society will seek to destroy you or compel you to obey its rules, regulations, and laws. Look at this. He's like, look, society is intended to maintain the greatest good for the greatest number, and that is always uppermost, so that in thought you may have to reform. Any society must be calculated to bring about the greatest good for the greatest number, and you must obey its laws. Otherwise, you are an evil genius living in the midst of that society, and society will seek to destroy you or compel you to obey its rules, regulations, and laws. So again, Marcus Garvey is telling you, look, this society in America is to maintain the greatest good for white folk. Now, he's not just talking about America, but he's just saying generally, just a general rule of society is that they're to benefit. I mean, honestly, it's to benefit the elites. But yeah, pretty much, it's not to benefit you. You are not in a community to overthrow the law of that community. You are there to live under the law. You understand? This is Marcus Garvey teaching our people, and it's like, yeah, he's not even capping. When the riot act or martial law is read or proclaimed in your community, keep indoors. Never join the mob. Like, there's a lot of things here that a lot of people, if you were to say this today, a lot of people will call you a coon or something, right? But if you understand what he's saying, you realize that this man understood society, and it's like realistically the trouble is that like the only trouble that you're gonna run into if you're a person that wants to do good for black people is the fact that you're not in a black nation. And yet you must be, like, if you want to really do good, you must be, living, like, you must, if you really want to do good, you should be under black laws. Okay? If you really want to do good, you should be influential in black circles, The highest service a citizen can refer to is a community organized that is to maintain and preserve peace. When the peace is disturbed, like at some point he's like, you should help the police to maintain. Look at that, because if the community loses its peace, you will have riots and probably bloodshed. No peaceful citizen, so on and so forth. Never join to incite public disorder. A lot of things that this makes a lot of sense in Africa. Here in America, always adopt a friendly attitude towards the police in your community because the police is that civil body. So like again, if you don't understand nationalism, this kind of stuff is like, what a blood clot? What y'all chat about? Right? But he's right. And that's what pisses me off. Because it's like, if you are property in a community is evidence of your status in the society of the community. If you have no property, have something of substantial value. The police, the officials in the government recognize property holders as citizens of first claim in an organized society. They are generally recorded to be identified. Therefore, you must teach the people to own property and to be known and recognized members of the community. Like at some point, he does talk about going up and talking to the politicians. And that's what I'm saying. Like this is real. This is realism. This is Garvey telling you what it is. Like if you want to advance as a people, political poll. Policy is the science of government that protects the human rights that are not protected by law. So on and so forth. Politics, you should play politics to get good government. You know? In which you live directly is always governed by politicians or statesmen. You should know them and become well acquainted with them for your own good. You need them in trouble and out of trouble, right? Again, if you are like this, like I tell you, you read this book. But what I want you to understand is this: if you are not in an African country, this is gonna make you like yeah. I mean, unfortunately, it's like when Brother Macari was talking about, when Brother Macari and I were talking about Dr. King versus Malcolm X and them. And it's like, yeah, you might like Malcolm X, but Dr. King gets shit done. And why does he get things done? You know, you're gonna call it cooning, but like realistically, you know, the government, like yeah, wherever you go in the world, it's the government. Like you have to. And so when we're talking about, you know, investment in science and things, if the government is not about it, it's not gonna happen. And unfortunately, the government bought and sold is not about it. But here in America, it's like, you know, it's more imperative that you know everybody a political concept. If you are a leader, if you are to be a leader in your community, this makes it even more imperative that you know everybody a political consequence, because you'll have to approach them not only for yourself and for your organization, but for the members of the race who look up to you as their leader. You have to approach the politicians. This is why, like I said, I tell you guys, I give up on America. You must never sell yourself to the politician. You must get around him in the most skillful manner. But anyway, again, this is stuff that a lot of us in America don't want to hear. In fact, if I tell people to go vote in America, they're like, you on that coon shit. But it's like, always make your vote count for bringing about the reforms you and the others think. It's sad. It's sad. But I really hope that you guys, like I said, 3 books I recommend you guys read. Marcus Garvey, Message to the People, obviously. Ptah Htp, obviously. And of course, Book of Power. Read those 3, you're good to go, right? But one thing you're going to pick up from this book is that it's kind of like this brother was telling me about Blueprint for Black Power. He was like that it works better in Africa. Now, I don't necessarily agree with that, but that's kind of the thing that we have to realize, that a lot of people writing in America where they are not free, things not going to work. Like, things are not going to work out for you if you're not even the majority. Like, it's just not gonna, if you're not in the national structure, if you're not the political powers that be, and you're not even the majority, things are just not going to work out for you. But if you are in the political structure, if you can be a part of the political structure, you know, look at this. Always try to know the mayor of your city and the government of your state, island, or country. Try to know that other government officials also. To know them before you have trouble is to get help when you are in trouble. Not to know them is to be at disadvantage when you are brought before them. Always treat them courteously and friendly, even if you don't mean it. Always let them believe you are friendly. Right? I go down to, because I actually like Kagame. I'm going to say that. Because I'm about to say something about him, right? But like, and you know, Marcus Garvey just said, always let them believe you are friendly. But anyway, yeah, I go down to Rwanda. First off, I mean, obviously, I probably won't meet Kagame. But if I can meet him, right, make a good impression. You say, hey, how you doing? You know, oh, yeah, you know, love your country, all that kind of stuff, right? Because if I ever get in trouble and I'm called before Kagame, right, if he's like, oh, that's my buddy. Oh, anyway, don't be messing with them girls. You know, them women. You know, them women. No, don't mess with, you know, whatever. I don't know. You know, don't be messing with, you know, neighbors. You know, something like that. I'm like, okay, my fault. You know me, right? Versus, you know, what this dog got to do? You know, I know the Rwandans don't sound like Jamaicans, but like what I want you to understand is that if Kagame is like, the first time I ever see this man and he's just doing some fuck shit, right? Versus, you know, the second time I see this man and he's doing fuck shit, right? It's different. You know, first time I see this man and he's, you know, a prolific scholar or something, right? And he's a philosopher, he's a friendly dude. Versus the first time I see this man, he's, you know, he's messing with this woman's sister, you know, messing with so and so, and all that kind of stuff. So what I'm saying is that, you know, but that's what I'm saying. But the thing is that this is impractical in America. It's not that it's impractical, but in order to do this, the people who do this in America, most of us call them coon. You understand? Most of us call them coon. I'm getting my accent. I feel it. But anyway, most of us are calling them coon because sometimes they go too far. Not just that they go too far, but it's like, realistically, you do not want this white boy in your stuff. But how do you get this white boy out when you're in his country, you're in his home? See, y'all see my book before, pro-black, blackity black, right? That would not be a problem if I were in Africa. It's like there's this animation called Akili, right? It's not a problem to be blackity black on Akili if you're in Tanzania. The problem with being blackity black is only a thing when you're in the West. And that's really all I want to say in regards to all of this, is that no, this thing. Oh, we supposed to read this? We're not doing that. But this article is investment in science and technology. It's not. You could invest in all the science and technology in the world when it comes to, like, in the middle of Haiti, right? You could invest in all the science and technology in the world in the middle of a war zone, right? That's not going to do anything. What if you want to clean up a war zone, you need to kill the motherfucking warriors. You need to finish the war. If you want to clear out a war zone, you need to finish the war. That's what it is. If you want a political government, right? You see what Marcus Garvey said. Everybody a political consequence. Know everybody a political consequence, right? Let's go back to. Wait, did we even switch? I don't even know if we switched. Okay, we did switch. Did I even show the book this entire time? I don't know if I even showed the book. Oh, it wasn't online. It was on the internet. Okay. If you want, if you, like, Marcus Garvey's telling you, go do something of political, like, he's telling you, know everybody a political consequence, right? If you know everybody a political consequence, right? And they are not a part of your political party. Like, if your people are not about your political party, but they are of political consequence, you have a problem. I'm not saying one party rule. And when I talk about one party versus two party, all that kind of stuff, I'm talking about indigenous parties. So if you have multiple indigenous parties, that's different. If you have foreign parties, right? That's when you're fucked up. See, America has, I mean, according to Nkrumah, America only has one political party, but just like American extravagance, they come with two, right? But realistically, America has two political parties, right? The Democrats and the Republicans, right? And they're derivative. They are indigenous to the extent that, not that Americans are indigenous, but they're indigenous in the sense that the Americans developed them. They're not, neither of those political parties are really Russian or Chinese. It just so happens that one political party hates Russia and the other political party hates China. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the only difference, right? But that's different. Neither political party is Russian or Chinese. But when like I said, when it comes to Jamaica, the political parties were Russian and China and American, and because one was Russian and one was American, right? Both of them had to go. Okay, both of them had to go. When it comes to the things that happen in Africa, same thing. All of them have to go. In South Africa, we're gonna talk about that maybe another time. All have to go. But let me actually look at the comments because I realized there's a lot of comments going on while I was reading. It's really hard to navigate so many windows. Let's see. I heard it a little first time. Oh no, there were no comments. All right. So anyway, that's pretty much it then. Appreciate everybody. Hopefully Kofi tells me that this was a good podcast. It was a little longer than usual, but we had Brother Bakari. And make sure you guys check in the Brother Bakari. I think he's going to sign in soon, so it is what it is. But other than that, hey, appreciate everybody for coming through, stopping by. I'm going to try to practice my patois some more so I could finally be called a tether rightly. But other than that, hopefully this was good for you guys. And nothing else, like I said, read those 3 books. And when my children's book come out, make sure you guys get it for some black children out there. But other than that, Shemi Hotep, Uncle Jah Senab Neb. There goes Kofi telling us good stream. That's good. Uncle Jah Senab Neb. I'm in my aunt. Dua Nature.